a pinch of cinnamon, a spoonful of honey, and lots of heavy cream. Add some ice, shake, and then enjoy, while knowing that's $6 the libs at Starbucks can't spend to ruin my life and yours.
Cappuccino, Holy Roast, and Whole Bean or Grind is available at shop.mychurch.com.
This is Capcom. We are ready to go for launch at the Crusade Channel launch site. New show lineup.
Go.
Broadcasting live on X, YouTube, and Rumble.
We'll go, Flat.
Breaking news updates. Go. The Mike Church Show Band.
We'll go.
We're go for launch for the Crusade Channel 4.0 mothership.
2, 1, lift off.
On August 4th, the Crusade Channel launched Crusade Channel 4.0, the mothership. And now you can see why everyone else is lost in space. In a world more and more infiltrated with fake news, AI-generated slop-ola, isn't it great knowing that Crusade Channel news is still researched, written, and performed by actual humans? Hey, what are you doing in here? Oh no. Get your hands off of me. You chipped my chip.
Boys, break it up. Jeez. Catch Crusade Channel News weekday mornings on the Crusade Channel. Live talk and podcast radio the way it should be.
No AI was harmed in the making of this radio content, but we hope to next time.
Hey, it's Mike Church with another adventure in Stuff You Really Don't Need to Know. The difference between an antidote and an anecdote. One is a cure for something that's poisoned you, like a corona hoax vaccination, and the other is a short accounting of facts, something the aforementioned vaccine has almost none of. Here's another anecdote for you. The flag of the Sacred Heart of Jesus is also known as the Carillon de Sacré-Cœur, or the original flag of Quebec. And did you know that our Founders Trading Post is the exclusive maker and distributor of this one-of-a-kind, full-size, beautiful flag right here in America? Yep. Order a Sacred Heart flag right now and take $5 off and get a matching Sacred Heart flag bumper sticker for free. Don't cost nothing. Hurry, spring is coming and supplies are limited. To order, go to mikechurch.com/flag or call us 844-527-8723.
Okay, please enter the 9-digit 2-step authorization code we just emailed you. Jeez.
What do you mean, prove I'm human?
Okay, that's a car. That's a car. That's a car.
Those are not cars. Please try again. Oh my gosh. I'll show you. Try again, stupid piece of AI mother. Here, try this.
Jim, what are you doing? Good grief, man. This isn't Office Space the movie. What are you trying to do?
I just wanted to send the KingDude a donation through the stupid computer.
Like Trump, the KingDude makes everything better, including donating, which you can now do by mail.
Mail? They still have that?
Of course they do, and the KingDude's keeping the ponies running on time and in business. Just snail mail your donation to P.O. Box 400, Madisonville, Louisiana, 70447.
Ha! And you can't. You're such a boomer. Me this time. And wait a minute. I know they're around here somewhere. There! Ha-ha!
Dude, those are airmail stamps from the movie Airplane. Surely you have...
Of course I do. And don't call me Shirley. The Crusade Radio Guild is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation, so your donations are tax deductible. Donate today, the Crusade Radio Guild, P.O. Box 400, Madisonville, Louisiana, 70447. During the 8 years of airing seasonal feast day related sermons, the Crusade Channel has amassed an incredible library of Catholic sermons, and you can now stream them all at podcast.crusadechannel.com.
Brother Mike Church presents Flashback. Sinful things that were happening 20 years ago. Jurassic Park, the remake of Godzilla, and the beginning of Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Are either of you homosexuals?
You mean like flaming, or?
No, we're not homosexual, but we are willing to learn.
Let's hope and pray no one will ever confess those sins again. The Mike Church Show, preaching and teaching from his abbey while living here in the present on the Veritas Radio Network's Crusade.
Transmissions, the will was you. Now try to push, try to keep us all down and hope that we will never see the truth around. Another promise, another scene, a package like to keep us trapped in greed. A green belts wrapped around our minds, an endless red tape to keep the truth confined.
All right, everybody, sing along at home. Quando. Bravo. Oh, yeah, you want to bet, buddy? Let me tell you something, buddy. Operating on a large pot of black coffee and 5 hours of sleep, we are here. The Mike Church Show is on live. I do not appear in the Epstein files. Can't say that for a lot of conservatives these days, so can you? Thanks for joining us last night for the State of the Union address. We had not a huge crowd, but a lively crowd. And actually 3 times that amount or almost 3 times that amount on YouTube last night. So lots of people watched and listened and hung out with us, and we're glad we're able to provide that. I want to call your attention to Crusader Stadium chat room. And Maggie will put the image in there that she put in there earlier. This is the surprise. Surprise, 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 Sergeant Carter. Pile, you nitwit, you knucklehead. Remember that? What is this supposed to be, Tacardi? Well, that's for you to figure. That's for me to know and you to find out. Aren't you going to guess any more clues? There'll be another one coming out in a day or so, and then another, and another. But start getting excited about what's about to happen. Because it is the biggest thing to happen since the Mike Church Show, quite frankly. And what a great year for it to happen, 2026, the bicentennial. So it's a little teaser. It's just a little image. Can you show that to them on YouTube? Because they can't get into the chat room. So this is what all the hoopla is about. Hey, that was a great try shot of some people hanging out talking.
That's because I had it changed in the ATM.
Okay, we get off of C-SPAN. C-SPAN.
Is there anything else you want me to do over here with
well, look, wait a minute, ma'am. I managed to fix the Wirecast broadcast so that we could go forward and have a YouTube show today. So all of you can thank me. Oh, it's FNCHD up there. Yeah, that one. Thank you very much. So, is Wirecast is ATEM going to cooperate? Now, we have all these gadgetry software around here. It's quite...
Ate them all.
All right, here. All right, hold on.
I'm so tired.
There it is. Yay, there it is. There's the image. Woo! Yeah, some people may be going, I don't get it. We'll figure it out. It's a riddle. Solve it. Is this another, what is the prize? No, it's not a contest. No, it's something bigger than that. And that's all you get. Noodle on it. And by the way,
That's it. That's a big one.
make sure that you police that chat room with the ban or the kick or the delete message button, because there are some people in there that were beta testers of one part of this, and that's just one part of it. And I don't want them blabbing what it is that they beta tested. Or some of them are just using it. They're not even beta testing it anymore. Although it still has to be updated daily manually, and we'll get that fixed. But in any event, There's your little image there. Check it out. And if you want to know what's going on, dude, you need to join. You just stop being on the fence. Stop giving Bannon and Real America's Voice and Ben Shapiro your money. Stop it. Share some of that wealth with us. CrusadeChannel.com/join. Click the $5 a month premium streaming option if you just want a starter plan. Use the code JBOY1, JBOY1, and that's free. And it'll adjust your card to this much.
0.0.
You won't need a credit card or anything, but you'll be a Founders Pass member for a month. Thanks to John Boy Gadke. Thank you, John. Great job. Appreciate that. So he donated the 24, I think it was 20. There's still 21 that remain. I hope all of you take them on YouTube. Go get them today and sign up. This is a gimmick. You're just trying to get me. Well, I am going to get your email address. It is true. But I'll trade you a month of Founders Pass service for free. No strings attached, no credit card. It will expire, and you will not be rebilled. But you can listen and watch the show every day. All right. Last night's State of the Union. Folks, so much to go over. Should we start with the good and go to the bad and then the ugly? Or should we start with the ugly, go to the good, bad, and then go to the good? Yeah, I want to start with the really, really fugly. All of my my 1970s, 80s growing up and coming of age bros, you will remember the term fugly. Play Peppermint Fugly Zaki.
What number?
Number 14. Oh, there's two?
No.
I was going to say, heaven forfend, I should have to listen to this siren harlot wail for more than one clip. Yeah, I want to start here because this is the state of delusion and derangement. You know, politics is not won on television. There's one guy out there that actually, there's two guys out there that understood this. Charlie Kirk, I think, understood this. Charlie Kirk, which is why Charlie took his show, if you will, his shtick, and his vocation public. He went public. He went door to door. You know, Thomas P. Tip O'Neill lost first political race that he was in, or the first time he ran for Congress, he lost. And he was a very popular Boston city councilman. He thought he was just a shoo-in. And he was asked afterwards, why do you think you lost? You going to run again? What'd you do different? And O'Neill is famously quoted, I think probably primarily misquoted, as saying that all of politics is local. And what Tip O'Neill, Thomas P. O'Neill meant by that, he meant that he didn't retail campaign. He didn't go like door to door in that district and try and win it. Instead, you know, he relied on the media and television ads and radio ads and whatever, and print ads and whatever else, and his reputation, and he lost. And so the lesson he won was that he learned was all politics is local. You got to go out and meet. You know, people actually like to meet, which, you know, I have discovered, folks. I can't tell you how much more full my life is on days when I have phone calls. My friend, my dear friend Cleo Blue, our faux pas print brother, who's been doing our T-shirts for 18 years now. You're my boy, Blue. Cleo was the other day. It was like we were going back and forth in emails. He said, hey, man, you just want to do a quick, he said, quick call. I'm like, hey, yeah, sure. An hour and 40 minutes later, are going to be welcoming a brand new sponsor to the program. Oh, and I can't wait. It's so cool. Oh, you guys are going to love this. You're going to love this so much. Many of you are. And I sent him an email and I inquired, and lo and behold, apparently Bannon hadn't gotten to him, and he was allowed to talk to me, which this sniveling little snake weasel video editor on X.com was not allowed to. Just an example. Guy sent me an email immediately, and he called me because I left my phone number, and he said, hey, man, I got your email. I'm excited to talk to you. Wow, the Mike Church Show. I'm like, that's how everyone should be reacting. So I called him an hour and 40 minutes later. We made the deal. Talking to people is how you get things done. I don't think anything ever gets done over email. I really don't. It's just misunderstanding. You can't discern tone. People get angry and upset. And, you know, I tell Maggie and I went through this, and I'm like, look, let's just stop doing customer service for the Crusade channel on email. Just stop it. Just set a time up. Make the call. It's so much better. And I think people are actually appreciative of making the call. So, in any event, all of politics is local. It's not going to be won or lost on MSNBC or Fox News. Those are echo chambers. They mean nothing. So people that put, well, on Fox News, so what? On MSNBC, so what? That's an echo chamber. There will be an impact, however, on the network news, because like it or not, people are still getting their news there. Services like Apple News, where it just pops up on people's iPhone and they see a headline and they go like, wait a minute, that's my congressman or whoever. How are you going to combat this? You're going to have to, I think, direct mail and lots of local campaign events. Scott Pressler is all over this. No, I'm not a Scott Pressler bro, and I know all about him. You could save all of your little snide comments. But Scott Pressler's all about this. He's warning. He's going, you guys are taking this way too lightly. You better start making your plans like Trump did, and you better plan to get out there and tip O'Neill. Politics is local. And if you do, I think they'll be fine. But that's not what Peppermint Zaki thinks. She thinks it's a fait accompli. The Democrat, she's measuring the drapes and picking the new Speaker of the House.
Watching that, I was just thinking about the fact that we're just over 8 months from the midterm elections. And that is, no matter what number of people battled through that nearly 2-hour speech, it's still going to be his largest audience of the year.
Battled through it.
And if you're sitting in a White House before a speech for any president, you're thinking about a couple things. How does the president use that speech to give a message to not just the people in the chamber, but his political allies out there about what they should be talking about, what the agenda is, what the winning message is? And Trump decided to double down on things that are hugely unpopular. I mean, to your point, it was like a 3-part speech. There was the gross, violent pornography part of it. There was the circus.
What the hell is pornographic?
Where he was bringing out unrelated people in vignettes. And then there was a part that was policy-ish, right? And that was doubling down on tariffs. In the ABC poll, 72% of independents disapprove. And doubling down on immigration and his policies, where 58% disapprove. So if you're a Republican sitting in there, you're a Republican running for office, that is not a speech that gives you a guide. It's not a speech that helps you out there try to win.
Okay, so fait accompli, tariffs are a bust. We all must go back to buying all of our goods from the Chinese and the Mexicans and the Canadians and the Taiwanese and the Hindus and the Indians. Not, thank you very much for calling customer service. And if we don't do that, if we don't go back to destroying our jobs and providing no future for generations of Americans to have productive, meaningful work, well, then F you, everything is rotten, and he's an idiot, and they just lost the midterms. How many of you believe that? There's probably a substantial portion of you going, yeah, TKD, you don't know anything. The tariffs are this, and tariffs are being paid by da. You don't understand, and neither does she, and neither do the eggheads in the Libertarian Party or at the Wall Street Journal. Trump understands this. You could call it a tariff, or you could call it a system of protection. In this matter of international trade, wrote Hilary Bell, I'm going to settle this right now, especially if you're a Catholic. Because I'm sick and tired of seeing people lecturing, oh, Catholics should be, this is an outrage, this is a regressive tax. It most certainly is not. Now, it could be, but not in the instances in which we have. In this matter of international trade, there rose up about 100 years ago a great political discussion in England between what was called free trade and what was called protection. This discussion is still going on and affecting the life of the country, and it is important to understand the principles of it, for we have here one of the chief applications of theoretical political economy to actual conditions. I dealt with this subject briefly in the first part of this book under elementary principles, but I return to it here in more detail because it has given rise in political application to the most important economic discussion in modern England. Hilary, God bless you. If you were still alive today, it's the most important economic discussion in modern America. And we better get it right. I think, and this is just me, you don't have to agree with me, you don't have to follow me. I think that President Trump has it about right. I'm not sure about every specific particular instance. How many of the Trump rah-rah cheerleaders will even tell you that and give you that? Like, I'm not sure. I can't vouch for every single tariff. But I think in principle, he's onto it. He's on. He's spot on. And I started reading E.F. Schumacher's Small is Beautiful book. It's in the Founders Trading Post store. I only got 4 copies. There shouldn't be any left after today. Shop.mikechurch.com. What a great, wonderful book. You keep saying that it's a tariff. It's actually a duty or an impost, whichever one. You can call it a tariff. I think tariff is a word that almost sounds mean. It almost sounds nasty. It almost sounds like, oh no, the tariff birds are coming, run! It's not a bad word. Belloc. The free traders were those who said that England would be wealthier as a whole if there were no restriction upon exchange at all, whether internal or external. A man having something to exchange with his English neighbor was, of course, free to exchange it without any interference. But the free traders' particular point was that a man having something to exchange with a foreign purchaser should be equally free to exchange it without any interference at the ports in the way of export duty, taxing, and transaction. In the same way, he said that the foreigner should be perfectly free to send here any goods he had to exchange against ours and should neither be kept out by laws nor restricted by special import duties at the ports. In this way, said the free traders, we shall get the maximum of wealth for the whole country. Maggie, do you have this? This is from the Gutenberg Press. I'll send it to you in Signal. And I'm on chapter 15. Okay. The protectionists, on the other hand, said, here are a lot of people engaged on a particular form of production in England. Let's just change England to America. In America, those who have their capital in it are making profits. Those who own the land on which the capital is invested are getting rents, and the working people are getting wages. The foreigner, having special advantages for this kind of production, which make him able to produce this particular thing more cheaply than we can, brings in that cheaper produce and offers it for sale to Englishmen, to Americans. The people to whom it is offered for sale will, of course, buy the foreign stuff because it is cheaper. The result will be that the English people who have invested their capital in producing this particular thing, that is, who have gotten implements together and buildings and the rest suitable for producing this thing, will be ruined. It will not be worth their while to go on, for no one will buy their goods. Their profits will be extinguished, and their capital will decay to nothing. The rents on the land they occupy will also disappear. And, what is worst of all, the large population which live on wages produced by this kind of work will starve or have to be supported idle by other people. Isn't that exactly what has happened in America? Belloc is correct. Everyone should read this. You can read it at the Gutenberg Press site. It's gutenberg.org. Search for Economics for Helen. This is chapter 15. I want you all to be the best informed, most passionate radio and television audience in America. So don't just take it because some cliche or some bumper sticker whore told it to you on Fox and Friends, or you heard it on some clown's radio or podcast. What is the actual intellectual argument behind it? This is why I keep saying, where are the conservative intellects? There is an argument against this I think, nonsense, affordability, and the costs are spiraling out of control. They will not spiral out of control because the price system in the United States will kick in. Wages and labor will come to fore, and Americans will make things again, but you have to give it time. These a-holes want to scare you and want you to bail on the endeavor while it's in its cradle. You do that, and your grandchildren are going to rue the day you were born, and they should. That's if they are born. Belloc continued. Their power of producing wealth will be lost to England or to America. Therefore, let us tax this cheap foreign import so that our production at home shall be protected. Let us tax the foreign goods as they come in so that the cost of producing abroad with this tax added comes to at least as much the cost of producing the same stuff at home. In this way, it will still be worthwhile for our people at home to go on producing this kind of thing. The American at home will be just as ready to buy his fellow citizens' produce as the foreigners, for the price of each will be the same. Now, he's actually laying out the two theories. The protectionist even said, let us make this tariff so high that the foreign goods are sold at a disadvantage. That is, let the tax on the foreign goods be such that, added to the cost of production abroad, they cannot be sold in England, in America, save at a higher price than the American goods. In this way, only the English goods will be bought here, and the home industry will flourish as it did before. Such were the two political theories standing one against the other. Now, let us look into the economic principles underlying these two opposing parties and see which of them has the best argument. Well, I can tell you, spoiler alert, he's going to tell you that the protectionists win the argument. And he's going to tell you that because they win the moral part of the argument. We'll talk about it when we come back.
Season 1 and 2 are now streaming on podcast.crusadechannel.com.
We all have our least favorite cliches, but for this Southern girl, it's beauty is in the eye of the beholder. What? That's like saying that chicken is as tasty grilled as it is Southern fried. Please. One of my favorite things to see beauty in are rosaries. I just love the combination of colors, material, or the simple beauty of the tri-bead. Well, for these Southern eyes, there is no finer maker of rosaries than the Little Bayou Rosary, started by my friend and yours, Maggie O'Connell. The rosary has a beautiful rosary handmade in Louisiana just for you, and each one is a unique, beautiful work of art. We have an almost unlimited variety of styles, color combos, and patron saint inspired rosaries. To order, go to mikechurch.com/rosary and view our current original designs. Available only in the Founders Trading Post at mikechurch.com/rosary or call us at 844-527-8723.
The Crusade Channel and the Slaves of the Immaculate Heart of Mary's Sisters present the Saint of the Day.
Hello, Crusaders. This is Sister Maria Filomena with your Saint of the Day, Saint Walburga, who died in the year 779. She was an English girl who went to Germany and died there as an abbess. She comes from a very saintly family. She was daughter to the Holy King Saint Richard and sister to Saint Willibald and Saint Weinbald. She was born in the kingdom of the West Saxons in England and educated in the monastery of Winburn in Dorsetshire, where she took the religious veil. After having passed 27 years in this holy convent, she was sent by the abbess, under the authority of St. Leoba, with several others into Germany at the request of her cousin, St. Boniface. Her first settlement in that country was under St. Leoba in the monastery of Bischofsheim in the Diocese of Mentz. 2 years later, she was appointed abbess of a nunnery founded by her two brothers at Eidenheim in Swabia. where her brother, St. Weinbald, took upon himself at the same time the government of an abbey of monks. This town is situated in the Diocese of Eichstätt, where St. Willibald, the other brother of our saint, had been consecrated bishop by St. Boniface. So one brother's bishop, another brother's abbot, and St. Walburga is the abbess. So eminent was the spirit of evangelical charity, meekness, and piety, which all the words and actions of St. Walburga breathed, and so remarkable was the fruit which her zeal and example produced in others, that when her brother the abbot died in 760, she was charged with the superintendency also over the abbey of monks until her death. Her relics have also been spread all over Europe, and many churches have been named after her. St. Walburga, pray for us. Thank you for joining us for this brief summary of the life of today's saint. Tomorrow's saints are St. Margaret of Cortona, St. Porphyry, and St. Alexander of Alexandria. To access all of our Saint of the Day recordings as podcasts, head to crusadechannel.com/saints. You can learn more about our sisters and contribute to the building of our convent by visiting stphilomenaconvent.org. I'm Sister Maria Filomena, and until next time, God bless and Mary keep you.
Attention Coffee Police Academy students. We will now call the roll. CPA candidate Jones. Present. Joe Arabica Friday.
Present.
Tommy.
Oh, I'm here, sir. I just can't seem to keep my eyes open since I started drinking this Barrett Bargain Basement Stale Bean Water.
And just why are you violating CPA Coffee Code SPW1AM?
Well, that's easy. So I can save up money to get into the Coffee Cop Academy.
Son, breaking CPA rules so you can get into CPA is no way to become a coffee cop. Now, I am afraid we're going to have to...
Uh-oh. Sounds like Lou has found the academy, and he's on his second cup of Abbey Roast.
Well, what does he want?
He wants to know why the CPA didn't recognize his Rougarou nouns.
Rougarou nouns? And I'm the one that rejected his application.
Will Lou the Rougarou have his revenge and grind the coffee cop into espresso? Stay tuned to this station for our next episode. And in the meantime, order Abbey Roast Coffee at shop.mikechurch.com.
The research department of the Mike Church Show has learned that most people listen to this show because you want your truth neat, straight up, and never watered down.
Hey, look, mister. We save hard drinks in here for men who want to get drunk fast, and we don't need any characters around to give the joint atmosphere. Is that clear?
And the best part about taking in 100 proof truth is you can drive at the same time. And you'll never get a hangover.
I'm so wasted!
The bar at the Mike Church Show opens every weekday morning at 8 a.m. exclusively on the Veritas Radio Network's Crusade.
Oh, come on, Captain. You're not the first man to get a thrill from murdering someone. I see it all the time.
Get out!
Or what? You'll kill me? Like you killed Ensign Lynch?
There was no way to save him.
You didn't even try. Where was your involved sensibility then?
I don't have time for this.
Oh, hey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt your little quest. Captain Ahab has to go hunt his whale.
This is not about revenge.
Liar!
This is about saving the future of humanity.
Jean-Luc, blow up the damn ship!
No! No! I will not sacrifice the Enterprise. We've made too many compromises already. Too many retreats. They invade our space, and we fall back. They assimilate entire worlds, and we fall back. Not again. The line must be drawn here. This far, no farther. And I will make them pay for what they've done.
doing? Marcus Tullius Meridius Maximus Augustus. I am not in the Epstein files. People that have tried to silence me are. Coincidence? I think not. My friends, choose who you get your conservative media from wisely. And stick with us here on the Mike Church Show here on a Wisdom Wednesday. Call-in line telephone number 844-527-8723. This portion of the program brought to you by the Founders Trading Post store. Now, look, I know you people cannot be moved. These days, you just can't be moved to do anything. Save for Miles Hendricks and Bill McComb and our usual, and Randy Mundy and our usual glorious regular contributors, who Elizabeth Wigington and so many of them. Thanks to all of you. Crowdfunding is not at the mark yet. We have 2 days left to do it. Let's do it today. CrusadeChannel.com/donate. Do you have the total? Can you update what it says in the chat room? I'm just curious. Here's what I wanted to tell you about the Founders Trading Post store at shop.mikechurch.com. And by the way, with that pink piece or that red piece of paper with that clue on it that we said something, the biggest new thing in media is coming, something old is returning too that is going to thrill many of you and is going to intrigue those of you that don't know about it. It'll all become clear, my pretty. If you go to shop.mikechurch.com and you click on the new book, Good to Great. I know many of you are going, I don't need to read so stupid business. Well, first of all, it's not a stupid business book. It's a book about life. So I took the liberty. I took 2 files from Jim Collins' Good to Great, turned them from the audio version, and put them on that book's page. That'll keep you busy for an hour. And I think when you hear the content of what I think are the 2 key chapters for my application anyway in the book, well, there's more than 2, but one is the 50-minute clip for the hedgehog concept, and the other one is why great, why pursue greatness. They're both excellent. I think it would intrigue you enough to get a copy of Good to Great. So go to shop.mikechurch.com. And Good to Great should be on the new products or on my chosen products on the homepage. If not, just search for it and you'll find it. And then, look, you don't have to buy the book. Listen to the 2 files and see if you're intrigued, as I was. I don't think that I'm a wacko or a weirdo. Actually, I am a wacko and a weirdo in my own way. But I don't think that I'm abnormal. I think that if someone can present something to me and you can make me sit down and listen to it, and I listened to that whole book, all 27 hours of it. I'm pretty sure that I'm a decent gauge of what goes in your ears. You know, you take great care to make sure that what you put in your belly, and today is an Ember Wednesday. Why do you get an Ember Wednesday in Lent? That makes absolutely no sense to me. Most people are embering every day, so in any event, it's an Ember Wednesday. Before someone rains on one of your parades and reminds you, oh, so you had coffee in your sugar today. Well, there's Ember Wednesday, loser. I think that you will be intrigued enough by the free preview that you'll want to get that Good to Great book. Also, E.F. Schumacher's is brand new there, too. And there's another great new book there called The Last Centurion. There's all kind of great new books in the Founders Trading Post store. So try it today. Shop with us. Shop.mikechurch.com. Don't forget the Beast and Butt Rub, which, by the way, we had a meeting yesterday, and Janet Huxley was the greatest news anchor in the history of news anchors, was in on the meeting. And I said, well, I don't have to try and sell Beast and Butt Rub to Janet. She goes, I order by the case. True story. And she goes, I don't know what you put in it, but I use it on everything now. And salads, croutons, you name it. I said, so you'll cut a commercial for it? She goes, I love doing the read inside the newscast. So shop.mikechurch.com. Okay. One more thing here on this tariff argument, then we're going to do sound bites. Hilary Belloc, the book is Economics for Helen, also in the Founders Trading Post store, but you can read it free online, Gutenberg.org. So Belloc is making the argument, and as I said, there is no moral argument against protection of your trades. There is no, I think people ought to be offended by this just ridiculous modern assertion and idea. Let me see if I understand this. Somebody from Canada, I'm just going to use Canada. So here, let's pick a province, Alberta. And I don't want to pick on the Albertans because I love the Albertans. Let's just say someone from Alberta says that, oh, I see that the Americans are selling all manner of, let's say, maple syrup. And they're using it on pancakes and this new crap that they have called French toast, and they're making candy out of it and butter and all this stuff. Well, guess what? We have more maple trees than those losers in Ohio do. And we Canadians, we employ Algonquin Indians as slave labor, and we can produce it cheaper, and we have the mills that make the bottle, so we can actually just make maple syrup for half of what those idiots in Ohio or Maine or Vermont make their maple syrup for. Let's barge across the border and go into their markets and sell it. Now, they're in Canada. They're going to now encroach on the Cermak family farm, and they're going to go to the same farmer's market that the Cermaks are going to go to sell their maple syrup. Only the Canadians have more supply of trees. They have everyone and their cousin that cuts them down and maples them and what have you. And as I said, they have the Algonquin and the Iroquois Indians as slave labor. And they have the mills that manufacture the bottles close nearby. They don't have to buy them from anywhere nearby. And whatever the case, and their currency is weaker than, or they're stronger than ours on the international market. Everything is in their favor. Or weaker than ours, is in their favor. And so they say they're going to cross the American, the Ohio, or the Michigan, and Canada, or Alberta border, and they're going to go in America into the same farmer's market. The Cermak sell their maple syrup that we interviewed the Cermak, so you all know about Sugar Bush Maple Farm, right? Sugar Bush Creek Farm. And now that they have an advantage, market goers are now going to go, and they can see that a bottle of Cermak, a keg, the small, medium-sized keg, is $12 from the Cermak, so the Canucks are selling it for $7. Well, the Canucks are going to come in, and some idiot like Gretchen Dimwitmer is going to go, we believe in free trade. No, we love you Canadians. You can sell whatever you want in America, free of charge. Don't cost nothing. So the Canadians are going to come in, and they're going to take pallets of their maple syrup. They're going to put it in their farmer's market stand for $7 a keg. The Cermaks are at $12. The Canadians are going to sell out, go home, fat, rich, and happy. The Cermaks, after 6 months of doing this, have to close their farm, and they're broke. So they are now going to have to learn to code. What a genius idea this is. Well, don't worry, says Governor Whitmer. Just learn to code, and all will be right with the world. And we don't need your stupid maple trees anyway. They were ugly. And besides, you don't want to be doing that manual labor. You want the stupid Canadians. You want the Canadians to do it. But wait a minute. People have been mapling on our farm for 3 generations now. We do like doing it. Well, too bad. Sucks to be you. Find another trade. We believe in free trade in this country, and Rand Paul is behind us. And so is the Wall Street Journal, so F you. I'm not exaggerating. That is literally the argument for Japanese and then Chinese steel. And then Japanese, Chinese, and Taiwan transistors. And then name your injected molded plastic. That is the exact argument. The United States of America put no barrier up whatsoever.
0.0.
And then we had all these drug companies that located in Germany and Norway and Sweden and Belgium and all this. And they're like an American genius scientist working at them. Scientists! Developing all these drugs. They sell them to people in Belgium and in Sweden and in Norway and Switzerland for $1 a pill. Try to get that pill in America. $1,249 a shot. Am I exaggerating? No, I am not. They took American ingenuity, American engineers, American medical geniuses, and they lured them over to go do their work and their dirty work in their labs in England. And this is not a commentary on whether or not the drugs are good or not, okay? Save your stupid argument. That's just not, it's not about that. And they went and they manufactured them in the European Union and the United States foolishly and stupidly. Well, why? Because we have insurance companies that pay for drugs and not people. So what is then the argument? Why should you be, how come you sell that drug in Mexico and Canada for $1 and the widow Ledbetter goes down to the Walgreens, it's got to pay $1,249 or has to pay $1,149 a month for health insurance. They'll buy it for her for $50. Folks, Trump is right, Lance. The whole damn thing is a racket. And he was right. Tariffs are the tool you use to destroy it. It is for the benefit of the American consumer, and it doesn't matter what drug we're talking about. This is not an argument for drugs or for pharmaceuticals. Don't be so silly. The argument is for, if you have the resources, you make it in your country, and your country, your land, your kingdom has a duty to protect you from that free. But wait a minute. But we could get their maple syrup and we could eat more pancakes, and then we would have all this other money left over to go and buy this. So this argument then, this is the argument that they use. Well, you're going to have all this money left over because you saved on maple syrup. Now you can go out and buy this and that and the other. Just keep rinsing and repeating the argument. You're going to run out of things that are made in America and employ people to make them. And sooner or later, you're going to be right where we are today and where we have been for part near 20 years. And the only way you can reverse it is exactly the remedy that the President of the United States is proposing. Which is why someone says, why are you such a supporter? Why do you stick by Trump? Trump is this, and the AI people, and the evil Satanists, and all that. Dude, I hate it all. I despise all of it. I didn't want to hear the crappy talk last night about IVF and the introduction of woman. But I'm not like you. And I don't think most people should be like you. You shouldn't be I'm going to let the perfect be the enemy of the good. This is where you live. These are the conditions under which you live. Can you make this set of circumstances better without selling your soul to the devil or commit any mortal sin? You can? Okay, well, I think you should do that. And that's the simple argument. Yeah, but we want to have, I want to have it too. We got to convince more people that they want to have, just like we're regenerative farming. Look, we're in the battle. We're in battle mode against what has been done. Take the victories that you can get, though. Belloc. In the particular case of the English dispute about free trade and protection, not wine, but a much more important thing was concerned, namely food. And that was what gave the political discussion its practical value and made it so violent. Well, let me trade that to, in the American dispute about free trade and protection, not wine, but a much more important thing was concerned, namely food. I would say, namely energy. And that was what gave the political discussion its practical value and made it so violent. It is also because energy was in question that the free traders won, and that England was, for a whole lifetime, up to the Great War, a free trade country. That is, a country allowing all foreign produce to come in and compete on equal terms with home produce. This country, at the beginning of the discussion 100 years ago, was already producing great quantities of manufactured goods, cloth and machinery and ships and so on. Now, does this story sound familiar? It is also produced on its fields the wheat and meat and dairy produce with which it fed itself. But as the population increased, the amount of food being produced on the soil of England, though getting larger in the total, got smaller in proportion to the rapidly increasing population. Therefore, there was a danger of its getting dearer. So now here's where you go like, okay, well, you can allow some in. Which I saw people bashing the snot out of Trump yesterday for allowing the Argentina beef in. Well, in the absence of the American Cattle Association catching up, what else are you going to do? That's going to kill out the... No. Not if you do it smartly. People want beef. They need beef. Make the supply available. When the cattle ranchers of America catch up, tariff it. Say, we don't need you. Thank you very much. You're going to have to, you can sell your beef, which is going to have to be a different variety, maybe Wagyu or whatever the hell is the case. These arguments that people have, and I think that this is the modern world that has done this to you people, and to too many people, have made you think in terms of black and white, win, lose. There is nothing in between. And this is my argument against people that say, well, I can't interview on my Catholic or my conservative radio show because you're conservative Catholic. And if you come on and people like you, they're not going to like me anymore. They're going to leave. And you gain listeners and I lose. That is the worst argument. Well, by the way, that's a horrible business model. And you're going to fail. You're going to fail morally. You're going to fail practically. And you're going to fail in the business sense. So, I think that the argument for the tariffs, this is not like Peppermint Zoc, he doubled down. He should have doubled down. He ran on it. There was not a single campaign appearance where Donald Trump as a candidate did not promise you tariffs. Every single campaign, I know because I broadcast all of them. He promised you tariffs. I never promised you a tariff garden. Actually, you did promise me a tariff garden. I should play the promise song at the top of the next hour from When in Rome. The free trader said, let the foreign food come in free. If it is produced in climates where the same amount of labor, you could get more wheat, more meat, more dairy produce then. Of course, many of our agricultural people will have to give up working on the land, but they can take to manufacturing. And the total amount of food which the English will get for so much labor on their part will be greater, where an agricultural laborer working an hour, for instance, can get a pound's weight of food. The same man working 1 hour in a factory will say, get by exchange of the manufacturer against the foreign food, 2 pounds of food, if we allow all foreign food to come in free. These free trade arguments look, when they are first studied, not only simple and clear, but unanswerable. And indeed, most educated men were, nearly all educated men in Queen Victoria's reign, or in President Obama and President Bush and Clinton and Biden's reign, thought they were unanswerable. And the protectionists here at home and the protectionists abroad who had to keep up tariffs against foreign trade were simply ignorant and foolish men who did not properly understand the elements of economic science. To see whether the free traders were right or wrong in these ideas, let us next turn to the arguments with which the protectionists met them. And the arguments for the protectionists are really good. Do we have enough time to squeak in I want you to play digital media file number 3, if you can pull it up. This is Trump talking about the very subject, tariffs.
Already made, right, Scott? Knowing that the legal power that I, as president, have to make a new deal could be far worse for them, and therefore they will continue to work along the same successful path that we had negotiated before the Supreme Court's unfortunate involvement. So despite the disappointing ruling, these powerful, country-saving, it's saving our country, the kind of money we're taking in, peace-protecting. Many of the wars I settled was because of the threat of tariffs. I wouldn't have been able to settle them without. Will remain in place under fully approved and tested alternative legal statutes. And they have been tested for a long time. They're a little more complex, but they're actually probably better, leading to a solution that will be even stronger than before. Congressional action will not be necessary. It's already time-tested and approved. And as time goes by, I believe the tariffs paid for by foreign countries will, like in the past, substantially replace the modern-day system.
So, and what he goes on to say is that you'll make these goods that are being tariffed here in the United States. And by the way, he's looking at Roberts. He's staring at Roberts, and Roberts is staring back, and he's going like, oh, yeah, you think you had a checkmate? Watch this. And going like, the notorious AC, boy, she has aged. Oh, my, she looked like an old wicked witch hag last night. Literally. I expected her to come in on a broomstick.
Wasn't that bad.
It's pretty bad. So we'll continue. We have so much more to talk about. I'm going to get you more sound bites from last night, and of course the idiot demon grant response and all that, folks. Don't go away. Right back in just 6 minutes.
It's not tape or a Post-it or a candy bar, but this new 3M
is the freshest spin on true crime shows since dinosaurs were solving cold cases with fossil evidence. Yeah, it's that original, folks.
Mom's Murders and Mysteries. New episodes debut every Tuesday night, 6:30 East, 4 West, exclusively on the Crusade channel. Live talk podcast radio, the way it should be.
Hi, folks. It's Mike Church, founder of Founding Father Films, asking you to learn the true stories of America's founding by purchasing my movie, The Road to Independence, the movie. The Road to Independence tells the exciting story of the Founding Fathers' struggle to declare independence.
Then on 10 May 1776, Congress instructed the colonies to form their own governments and write their constitutions.
Resolved that it be recommended to the respective assemblies of the United Colonies to adopt such government as shall best conduce to the happiness and safety.
This animated movie comes complete with collector's booklets, DTS surround sound, and are packed with hours of bonus features. Learn the true stories of America's founding and order Mike Church's The Road to Independence on DVD and CD. Available now at mikechurch.com/DVD and by calling 844-527-8723.
You're listening to the Crusade Channel, a Black Hat Studios media property. Broadcasting live 24/7 from Madisonville, Louisiana, and to the world via CrusadeChannel.com. Crusade Channel News. News you can trust.
Because let's face it, the truth just sounds different. Like a symphony of facts.
And now, from the Crusade Channel News Desk, here's Janet Huxley.
Hello, Crusaders. Welcome to Wednesday, February 25th, 2026. I'm Janet Huxley, reporting for the Crusade Channel News Desk, live from the Dothan Farm and Ranch, south of Kansas City, Missouri. This report brought to you by the all-new Crusade Channel 2.0 app, the best way to listen to the KingDude ever. An installation is so easy. Open up a browser on your device, go to crusadechannel.com/app, tap the download button, then open the app. It is literally that easy. Here's what to listen for this hour. Trump's State of the Union is strong. Senate Democrats again block Republicans' attempt to fund DHS. A father forced to sit away from his 2- and 4-year-olds on a Southwest flight has social media siding with the airline, and a sting operation in Israel nets a 2,000-year-old Jerusalem workshop. Donald Trump wasted no time in getting to the laundry list of his administration's accomplishments for the good of the state in his 1 hour and 48-minute address to the Union last night. Early on, he touted his administration's achieving 0 illegal aliens being admitted to the U.S. in the past 9 months. The president also addressed the Minnesota scandal, saying one of the worst fraud scandals in U.S. history was the result of Somali pirates who ransacked Minnesota. To address the rampant fraud, he announced that he is appointing Vice President J.D. Vance to lead a war on fraud. When it comes to the corruption that is plundering, it's plundering America. There's been no more stunning example than Minnesota, where members of the Somali community have pillaged an estimated $19 billion from the American taxpayers. We have all the information, and in actuality, the number is much higher than that, and California, Massachusetts, Maine, and many other states are even worse. It's the kind of corruption that shreds the fabric of a nation. We are working on it like you wouldn't believe. The president also called the Supreme Court's pivotal decision striking down his sweeping emergency tariffs unfortunate, as 4 justices stared straight-faced at the president from the front row of the House chamber. And several times during the course of the evening, the Democrats refused to stand or even acknowledge nonpartisan issues of decency. At one point, Trump said, "These people are crazy." The Democrats did, however, stand for the U.S. men's hockey team and goaltender Connor Hellebuck, who received the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Overall, the most impressive moment had to be when the president asked boldly members of Congress to stand if they felt their first duty was to protect the rights of U.S. citizens over those of illegals. Most Democrats didn't even stand for that. Meanwhile, another Democrat shut down as Senate Democrats again blocked the Republicans' attempt to fund the Department of Homeland Security. The largely party-line vote on Tuesday was the first action in the Senate since lawmakers returned from a week-long break. Our quote of the day: you cannot please both God and the world at the same time. They are utterly opposed to each other in their thoughts, their desires, and their actions. St. John Vianney. And coming up, a look at more headlines. You're listening to Crusade Channel News.
When most people hear the word coffee, they conjure up visions of a ceramic mug in the palm of both hands and a woman slowly sipping. This isn't a Folgers commercial. It's for Capuchin Holy Roast, and here's how I take mine. With a dash of vanilla, a pinch of cinnamon, a spoonful of honey, and lots of heavy cream. Add some ice, shake, and then enjoy, while knowing that's $6 the libs at Starbucks can't spend to ruin my life and yours.
Cappuccino Holy Roast in whole bean or grind is available at shop.mychurch.com.
You can learn all about today's Saint of the Day in the Saint of the Day podcast at crusadechannel.com. Now a look at more headlines. As a result of refusing to pay for seat selection on a flight, a father of two was forced to sit separately from his small children, and people are taking the airline's side. Corey Wattillo took to X to vent his frustrating experience recently flying with Southwest Airlines and his family. Alongside a screenshot of selecting from the drop-down menu on the airline's site that he was flying with little ones, the father wrote, "My wife and two kids, 5 and 2, are flying at Southwest Air today, and because I refused to pay for seats, their seats were auto-assigned. My 2-year-old in his own row without his mom or sister. I sort of figured when the websites break out age 0 to 4, they'd factor this in, but nah." Well, his assumption wasn't wrong. If a flyer doesn't pay for seat selection, their seat will be assigned automatically, and technically, airlines aren't required to seat families together on a flight. The Department of Transportation encourages airlines to at least ensure young flyers are seated with an accompanied adult, which clearly Southwest failed to do here, but most folks took the airline's side. Authorities in Israel recently conducted a sting operation against antiquities thieves and uncovered a 2,000-year-old workshop that once supplied pilgrims traveling to Jerusalem. The Israeli Antiquities Authority announced the discovery on February 15th in a press release shared with Fox. Authorities said the workshop was found in an underground cave on Mount Scopus in Jerusalem. What began as theft investigation turned into a major archaeological discovery because the workshop dates to the Second Temple period. That's the era in which Jesus lived and preached in Jerusalem. In the cave, officials found hundreds of stone vessel fragments, production waste, and unfinished items. To their amazement, they discovered hundreds of unique stone vessel fragments, the statement said. I'm Janet Huxley for the Crusade Channel, seeking news and finding truth.
This is a pixel.
I'm Groot.
Now, if you put a couple of million of these guys together, you can make a sentence on an LED screen. Put a couple of billion of them together, and you can make a whole page. Put 360 billion of them, and you got Chesterton's book, Orthodoxy. But it doesn't smell like a book, and it burns teeny little holes in your cornea. So is the pixel really your friend?
I'm Groot.
No, but the Founders Trading Post is your friend, and we have actual books with actual smelly pages. Plus, our little bookstore has everything you'd expect.
I'm Groot.
Yes, Groot, to the gourmet coffee, but no to the One Tree Hill sappy guitar music.
Pick up a copy of G.K. Chesterton's Orthodoxy, plus many other Chesterton titles at shop.mychurch.com.
Hi, folks, it's Mike Church, founder of Founding Father Films, asking you to learn the true stories of America's founding by purchasing my movie, The Road to Independence, the movie. The Road to Independence tells the exciting story of the Founding Fathers' struggle to declare independence.
The name of this confederacy shall henceforth be the United Colonies of North America. The said United Colonies hereby severally enter into a firm league of friendship with each other, binding on themselves and their posterity for their common defense Again?
This animated movie comes complete with collector's booklets, DTS surround sound, and are packed with hours of bonus features. Learn the true stories of America's founding and order Mike Church's The Road to Independence on DVD and CD. Available now at mikechurch.com/DVD and by calling 844-527-8723.
What do Conservative Media Inc. and Catholic Media Inc. have in common? They're both terrified of the KingDude. It's good to be the king. The Mike Church Show is on CrusadeChannel.com.
The Dauphin of due diligence, the Titan of tariffs. Titan of tariffs. I think it needs an echo. Hang on. The Titan of tariffs. The Mike Church Show is on year number 34. Thanks to all of you who are getting us very close to our February crowdfunding total. So, $3,679.76. That means $1,321 to go. 1,321. Make your contribution today. You got to do it today. February ends on Saturday, so we got to wrap it up by Friday. CrusadeChannel.com/donate. This portion of the program brought to you by Acadiana Steak, but during Lent, Acadiana Fish Seasoning. Because it doubles as a magnificent spice seasoning for seafood and for vegetables. So we had shrimp lo mein for our main meal of the day yesterday. And the shrimps, Gulf shrimp, by the way, were sauteed in Acadiana steak seasoning. Even Buckshot liked them. So you can take it from Buckshot and from me that Acadiana steak seasoning or Acadiana seafood and steak seasoning is the way to go. Get yourself a bottle or 12 today, right alongside Chicken Mamu and Beast and Butt Rub at shop.mikechurch.com. Don't forget, I'm offering that free sample of the Jim Collins book, Good to Great, which I really believe many of you will benefit tremendously from reading, even if you're not in business. But if you are, certainly get the 2 free audio samples that are now in the store, shop.mikechurch.com. And there's so much more that I could tell you about, but it's all there in the store. Great new books. Maggie's got like a half a dozen new rosaries in there that are beautiful. Shop.mikechurch.com. Okay, so we played the Tariff and the SCOTUS clip. Where's the one where he calls them crazy? Oh, number 2. This may be the greatest highlight reel. If you put a highlight montage together of this, maybe the greatest one in the history of State of the Unions, because he looks at the Democrats and they're sitting down, and there is this when, I want to say it's during the mutilation of children part of the speech. And he's talking about here, and there's a woman that's in the crowd, there's a man and a woman, a husband and wife with their daughter. And he tells the story of how the daughter was told by a school, a public school, a government school in Maryland, that she was a he, and then they hid it from the parents. And then they started, this actually happened. And then the school made arrangements for the girl to be mutilated to begin the chemical process going towards the double mastectomy was the first phase. The parents didn't know peep. She was 13. This school, you should bury these people underneath the jail for the rest of their lives. It should be an executable offense. These people kept this from the parents, and then when the parents found out about it and tried to stop it, the school aided and assisted the child in fleeing across state lines into Virginia. And then the state of Virginia, under Governor Northam, refused to extradite and return the child. The Biden regime and Northam refused to return the child to the parents. So a long and lengthy court battle, and finally, the daughter decides that she doesn't want to become a boy anymore, and she runs away. Now, this is where it gets really sinister. She runs away to go back to Maryland to be with her parents. Well, she's intercepted on the way, and she's asked, well, what are you doing? Well, I want to go back to my parents. The cops send her back to Virginia. In other words, you're getting your boobs cut off whether you like it or not, sister. You are going to be an example of Biden's transgender minions. You're going to tranny and like it, witch. Another lengthy court battle ensued, and finally sane people won out, and the girl was returned to the parents, where she completely stopped all puberty blocking, all of that nonsense, and now she was in the crowd last. She's a beautiful young woman, thank the Lord. They weren't able to sterilize her. So Trump talks about this and says, this has to be brought to an end. What the hell is wrong with you people? This could not have been tolerated 15 years ago when Obama was president, and now you want to make laws to make it possible? And this is when the Democrats, the entire House erupts as he introduces the little girl and her parents up in the crowd, and the Democrats sit on their hands, and that's when he unleashes the Trump hammer.
Surely we can all agree no state can be allowed to rip children from their parents' arms and transition them to a new gender against the parents' will. Who would believe that we've been talking about this? We must ban it. And we must ban it immediately. Look, nobody stands up. These people are crazy. I'm telling you. They're crazy.
Oh, it's the greatest moment ever.
Amazing. Boy, oh boy. We're lucky we have a country. With people like this, Democrats are destroying our country, but we've stopped it just in the nick of time, didn't we?
These people are crazy. Look at them. Nobody stands up. Nobody stands up. Then none of us stand up. These people are crazy. America got to see the Democrats on parade last night. I don't know so much as a parade as a freak show. You know that Gavin Gruesome Newsom is barnstorming the countryside now as Gavin Dice Clay Newsom. You've heard this bit now, right? F-bombs everywhere, GD bombs everywhere, S-bombs everywhere, calling women C-words, talking about, he's just vile. Is the United States standing on the precipice of having a candidate for the presidency who is a pornographic stand-up comedian? Because it almost sounds like it. Now, I still want to know what Peppermint Zaki was talking about. The first third of Trump's speech was pornography. Have you been able to find anyone explain this? All right, we're going to continue on. How about number 4? Digital media file number 4. Yeah, that's the one. That's fine.
So tonight I'm inviting every legislator to join with my administration in reaffirming a fundamental principle. If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
All the Democrats remain seated. If you agree with this statement, stand up. If you don't, sit down. And he goes like, you want to stand up? Come on, you can still stand up. You can still save it. You can be like Connor Hellebuck and save. And he sits there and he starts doodling his fingers like, I'm going to give you a chance. You sure? This is where you want to. Okay. He's still staring at him. So the question was, if the first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens, if you agree with that statement, stand up. Now, this is a television commercial for some people in Senate and House races that just writes itself. You need a little bit of slick editing, but you don't need much. And you cut back to him going, "Are you sure? Are you sure? You can still stand up and save it. You can still say, nope. Okay, have it your way." You're just watching, and maybe this is, as I've been saying since January of last year, it's the end of the Democrat Party. All right, I want to get another perspective on this. I normally would not do this, but today I'm in a good mood, and I will. Let's play them back to back. Let's play digital media file. By the way, I also love the "You must pass the Insider Trading Act immediately." And he looks up and he's looking in the crowd for Nancy. And he sees Weinbach Nancy and he stares there like, "Yeah, I'm coming for you. You and your $250 million net worth. I'm coming for it. You stole it all. It's insider trading and you know it." Every time I think of this, I think of Martha Stewart. Those witches and warlocks let the Securities and Exchange Commission under Bush, let them make a sacrificial lamb out of poor Martha Stewart. Now, this is not my endorsement of Martha Stewart. And it's not, "Oh, I love Martha Stewart products. I love Martha Stewart." It's not, nothing of the sort. Did she do insider trading? I don't know. I don't care. Yeah, we kick out there. She saved $81,000 because she got an inside tip. We need to lock her away. Do you know how many hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars have been gained by members of Congress because they know that something's about to happen, and they call their broker? "Hey, hello, Mr. Schlangenfeld. Yeah, my broker up in New York. Look, I got information. There's going to be a congressional hearing today, and I'm going to say such and such about this company and about this product. So I want you to get $2.5 million of my large money, Mr. Schlangenfeld, and I want you to short the stock. Short it. Take all of it and short it. Don't worry about it. It's going to happen, okay? Here's the sell mark. When it gets down to 26, sell." You're a member of the House of Representatives. You go into committee. You savage a product by name, the CEO of the company, however it is that you do it. The stock tanks. You knew you were going to do it. That's cheating. It's illicit. It's immoral. It's thievery. It's fraud. And you shouldn't be able to do it. Members of Congress, look, if you're a member of Congress and you're Elon Musk and you got a company that makes electric cars and you got $20 billion in the bank, fine. If no one can trace how you got $32 million in your account, but you got it and you're still in the House of Representatives, yeah, you cheated. We know that you did. You know, I expect that people are always going to take the easy and simple way out because the path of least resistance. When water's going downhill, what does it look for? Same thing with immoral, illicit, cheating people. So this shouldn't happen. Now, if you had sane, I mean, just even a head fake towards morality, people that had dignity and class, then you would go to the State of the Union and you would sit there attentively and respectively, which, by the way, I never thought I'd say this, but Hakeem Jeffries actually did that. As a matter of fact, Hakeem Jeffries was probably the senior statesman out of all of them. Schmuckle Schumer just kind of was rolling his eyes and grimacing and going, ooh, and making like he'd been stabbed in the heart or whatever. But Hakeem Jeffries just pretty much sat there and watched Trump every once in a while. He applauded and stood up and clapped. But as a matter of fact, I was very surprised. I want to play two cuts. First one is number 10. How should this have gone down? And again, why don't we have competition to make America great again? Why don't we have competition to make Louisiana great again? Or Texas or whatever state? Because you don't have sincere people who are dignified and have class. They're taking their ball and they're going home because you're not doing what they want you to do and you're not rewarding them and their pervert buddies for doing it. So here, first is Mike Johnson.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know you were...
Did I thought I was setting it up perfectly.
Well, I was typing.
Oh, okay. Here.
Meanwhile, are going to host, count them, 5 separate counter events, rallies of some sort, they call them, in lieu of tonight's address. For all of these theatrics, it doesn't matter how many little gatherings they have or where they stand or how high the volume is on the microphones. They have nothing to offer, nothing but their TDS agenda, the Trump derangement syndrome, and it's on full display. All they can say, all they can tell you about is how they oppose President Trump and thwart his agenda and shut down the government and protest everything from the president's joint address to basic immigration enforcement. And they obstruct any meaningful progress for the sake of obstruction. It's the same tired playbook that they've run for a decade now. It's shameful that they would boycott an address. We don't do that. Republicans don't do that. It doesn't matter if there's a president from the opposing party. We don't skip out. Our constituents want and need us to be here. Every member of this House represents over 750,000 people.
This is a great point
They're
here.
disenfranchised if you're not sitting in the seat to be a part of the role and the responsibility of Congress. I think it's shameful. Republicans have a far simpler and far superior message for Americans watching at home. We're putting more money back in your pockets. We're restoring peace through strength. We're defending our border and deporting criminal illegal aliens. We're standing up for American industry and manufacturing. And we're making American workers, not foreign countries, the clear winners in this American economy. Those are not talking points. That is what we have delivered. It's called Republican results. And we are proud to run on that message in this fateful midterm election year.
Okay, you're still going to get the vote out. Now, let's switch gears. All right, I'm not even going to announce who number 11 is. Play digital media file number 11. Okay, you got the Speaker of the House. Yeah, but that's just a Republican member of the House of Representatives, TKD. That's not every man. Nobody out there is thinking like that. Yeah, they are.
So some are talking about walking out in the middle of his speech. Others are talking about boycotting it altogether and essentially finding something else to do. I'm here to tell you that neither is acceptable. Neither should be acceptable. At some point in time, ladies and gentlemen, there's got to be an adult in the room. If you're going to act as juvenile, as petulant, as petty, as you accuse the president of the United States to be, how are you ever going to hold a high moral ground, at least high enough to judge him accordingly?
Great point.
If people on the right can turn and look at you and say, you're no better, you act no better, where's it going to get you? See, these are the kind of things that end up getting people like myself and others in the news because we're talking about getting things done. I've said repeatedly, and I'll state it again, and I'll make news by saying it again. I have no desire to be an elected official. I've never entertained politics in my life. I'm certainly not an aficionado on the issues. Got a long way to go to learn all the things that go on. But you know what I have? I have common sense. I have decency. I have respect for the office even when or if I didn't respect the individual. Because I would understand it as a representative, whether it be that as a representative or a senator in the United States of America, guess what? I have a constituency to answer to. And I have people who need me, who I represent. And whether I like it or not, this individual is in office until 2028. And I got to find a way to do business with him in order to get something done.
Now, that is, of course, the sports commentator turned political commentator Stephen A. Smith. It's interesting to me that you have Jason Whitlock, you have Stephen A. Smith, you have several very prominent black sportscasters and sports writers who have kind of seen the light. Now, I have to ask the question, would this ever have happened under a President Romney? No flippin' way. Would this have happened? Let's just pretend that he got elected under low-energy Jeb Bush. Bush 3.0. No. There is simply no one in Republican Party or Democrat Party politics. I mean, it's like Megyn Kelly once said, and I'll just credit her because I didn't come up with it if she's correct. When Trump walks in the room, he sucks all the oxygen out. You can either deal with that, make peace with it, and figure out a strategy for, well, how do I get along? Well, one thing you could do is you could work with him. One thing you could do, if you're Cory Booker, senator from New Jersey, if you're dodging Dick Blumenthal, senator from New Jersey, when 5 or 6 New Jersey-raised boys are going to get an audience with the president, you ask the president if you can come. You say, hey, I'm from New Jersey. Jack Hughes, Quinn Hughes is from New Jersey. I'd like to be there for my peeps.
A good old-fashioned party line, white picket fence, chap and gadfest that we call The Midday Show. With your hostess from across the pond, Fiorella De Maria. Exclusively here on the Crusade Channel. Live talk and chat radio the way it should be.
Hello, Crusaders. I'm Janet Huxley at the Crusade Channel News Desk with your Crusade Crucials for Wednesday, February 25th, 2026. This report is brought to you by the all-new Crusade Channel 2.0 app, the best way to listen to the KingDude ever. An installation is so easy. Open up a browser on your device. Go to crusadechannel.com/app. Tap the download button, then open the app. It is literally that easy. In the market report, the Dow was up 0.76% at last close, and the S&P 2.77. NASDAQ climbed 1.04%. On the National Day calendar, today is the day Samuel Colt was granted a patent for his revolver firearm. That was in 1836. In 1862, the first Legal Tender Act of 1862 put $1 bills into circulation. Today is National Chocolate-Covered Nut Day, and both chocolate and nuts can be good for you. Dark chocolate possesses a substantial amount of antioxidants, while the nuts contain essential fatty acids. It's also National Clam Chowder Day, and there are all kinds of chowders. Our quote of the day, you cannot please both God and the world at the same time. They are utterly opposed to each other in their thoughts, their desires, and their actions. St. John Vianney. And you can learn all about today's Saint of the Day in the Saint of the Day podcast at crusadechannel.com. You're listening to Crusade Channel News.
Hi, folks. It's Mike Church, founder of Founding Father Films, asking you to learn the true stories of America's founding by purchasing my movie, The Spirit of 76. The Spirit of 76 details the true story of the writing and ratifying of the U.S. Constitution.
Besides the expenses of maintaining the Senate and other House in as much splendor as they please, there is to be a great and mighty president with very extensive powers, the powers of a king. He is to
This
be
animated
supported
movie
in
comes complete with collector's booklets, DTS surround sound, and is packed with hours of bonus features. Learn the true stories of America's founding and order Mike Church's The Spirit of 76 on a 2 DVD or 3 CD set. Available now at mikechurch.com/DVD and by calling 844-527-8723.
Do you know what the Maha and MAGA movements both have in common?
I give up. A pair of A's?
That's about as right as Pink and Charlize Theron are on child rearing. No. The Captain of Kings, the KingDude himself, did radio shows about them both before they were used to sell clicks for grifters. What the heck do Laura Loomer and AC/DC Drano want now?
There's nothing like it on Radio Free Farm Friday. New episodes drop on Friday mornings. Mike Church Show at 9 East, and catch over 100 episodes as podcasts on our app and on CrusadeChannel.com.
The Crusade Channel has been charged with being an equal opportunity slayer of innocent airtime.
I'm fixing to commensurate this trial here. We gon' see if we can come up with a verdict up in here.
This a charge the Mike Church Show denies.
Hi there. I'm on my way, I'm making it. I've got to make it show, yeah. So much larger than life. I'm gonna watch it grow in.
How you doing?
The place where I come from.
The voice of Optionist Prime. A transformer of boys into men that you can trust. Mike Church Show, 34 years young, and no one can claim the mantle, but we can. Here on a Wisdom Wednesday. All right, folks, I know you all have State of the Union fatigue, but we got to move that meter. Got $1,300 more to raise. CrusadeChannel.com/donate. CrusadeChannel.com/donate to donate to the 501c3 that is the Crusade Radio Guild. Crusade Radio Guild. And look, the Ethics in Broadcasting Network needs you. And there's something really, really big coming, and we need to make sure that we make it to it. So be as generous as you can, and thanks to all of you who have already contributed to our February crowdfunding efforts at CrusadeChannel.com/join. You know, Trump went out of his way last night to shake John Fetterman's hand, and you know that Fetterman showed up in a suit and a tie. I just want to hear what Fetterman is saying because he's on with Bill Hemmer on Fox News right now. Let's eavesdrop in for just a moment.
I think show up. You don't have to clap for everything. You don't have to agree with anything. I think we're in a different place right now where it's now people not even going to show up or doing other kinds of alternative things. So for me, that's, I think, so.
Yeah, that's interesting. Do you think the State of the Union address has changed for good now?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, now it's the constant kinds of yelling and screaming and holding up signs and for doing all these things. I don't think
it's
I don't care if it's
theatrics.
a Republican or Democrat as a president. Just don't do that. Don't do that. Respect the office, regardless who's in that. And now for me, it's like now when half the people in my party haven't showed up, and then some of them have chosen to just yell and say and scream during all of it, I just don't think that's what we want. And I don't believe, as a Democrat, I think like dancing frogs really moves the ball for us as a party either.
On that first point here's some of the moments. You had Elon Omar out of Minnesota, Rashida Tlaib out of
All right, Elon Omar should have been Al Green kicked out. But you know what? Trump was not going to give her that 15 minutes. She interrupted 3 times, this witch. When did the United States House of Representatives become the Japanese Parliament? Have you ever watched the Japanese Parliament? When did the House of Representatives of the United States become the British Parliament? Have you seen the affairs that go on inside the British Parliament lately? When we used to talk about this. You used to watch it on C-SPAN on Sunday night for entertainment. Hey, Mike, what are you watching tonight, this Sunday night? 60 Minutes? I think I'm going to watch the British Parliament, actually. It's a lot more fun. And it would be somebody would go and would go down into the well, as they call it, and would say something. And someone up in that wasn't in the well would be heckling them as they're talking. And then the other side starts yelling, and the other side, this is what your democracy has produced? And I'm supposed to be terrified of a monarch? I'm not terrified of it. As a matter of fact, right now I'm going like, where is Saint King Louis X? None of this bodes well for the future. Now, contrast Elon Omar and the other Democrats who were yelling and screaming, the ones that were outside protesting and having their own event, what have you. Contrast that with the behavior. And again, oh no, here he goes again with the USA men's hockey team. Well, why not? One of them even said, I think it was one of the Quinn brothers even said, look, we're not going to, I guarantee you we have policy disagreements, and that's fine. But I'm not going to air them here. I was invited here by the President of the United States, and I'm just glad to be here, and I intend to show my respect and my gratitude for the invitation. That's what you say. That's how you conduct yourself. And then later on, I thought I heard, I don't see it on the cut sheet. I know you were. Who was the one that Hannity was talking to? Which one? One of the Chachik brothers, right? Well, no, he even said, well, there was some, I laughed out loud when he told Hannity, when he goes like, look, I even chanted USA, USA for a moment. Here it is.
It was just really cool to be a part of it. I'm going to be honest. I was chanting USA myself. Like, I've never done that before, I don't think, in my life, other than like another sport event I've been at. But it was so cool. I came out just holding the gold medal, which, by the way, I think you should wear it for this.
Whoa. Wow. Really?
And then Hannity puts on, oh, this is really heavy. Well, that's because you never lifted anything in 40 years. Other than a pen to sign that $250,000 paycheck you get every week. That notwithstanding. I chanted USA. I yelled USA, USA. It was so cool to be a part of the moment. It was cool to be a part of the moment. You know, if we go down the list, okay, so there was a Purple Heart that was given to the National Guardsman dude, right? Make sure I get this in the right order. There was a...
I think you've got a list of what happened and who got...
Is there? I don't see it. No, play here. We'll look it up. We'll get it. You got two. You got Connor Hollabrook got the Presidential Medal of Freedom by vote of his team. You had a Purple Heart that was awarded. You had a Congressional Medal of Honor, which was given to the Chief Warrant Officer who was the Chinook pilot on the raid on Maduro's castle. And then you had a medal. I thought it was the Purple Heart that was awarded to the National Guardsman dude who got shot in the head and survived, and he was there with his mom. And I'm almost positive he's the one that got the Purple Heart. And he was, when the general came over and pinned it on him, the Purple Heart comes from George Washington. That was basically, it was one of his ideas of reward. There it is, right there. There it is right there. There's can you flash it up real quick? Is it possible? Just so people can, it's gone. In any event, I want to play digital media file number 6. This is gaslighting tampon trader Tim Waltz, Jacob Fry, Keith Ellison, Elo Omar, and all the rest of the Minnesota delegation that did not show up. We're not going to dignify what they did to our city and our state by showing up at his State of the Union. First of all, it's not his. It's in the Constitution, doofus. Second of all, this is a clip that will live. A clip which shall live in infamy.
The Somali pirates who ransacked Minnesota remind us that there are large parts of the world where bribery, corruption, and lawlessness are the norm, not the exception. Importing these cultures through unrestricted immigration and open borders brings those problems right here to the USA. And it is the American people who pay the price in higher medical bills, car insurance rates, rent, taxes, and perhaps most importantly, crime. We will take care of this problem. We're going to take care of this problem. We are not playing games.
I don't know if you caught it. He said Somali pirates. Somali pirates. All right, Maggie, we don't have a slow motion function, but I want you to play it one more time. I want everyone to watch your screen carefully. I want you to watch Speaker Mike Johnson about 3 seconds after he says Somali pirates. Because you're going to see that watch Johnson, who was over Trump's left shoulder. Just watch.
The Somali pirates who ransacked Minnesota remind us that there are large parts of the world where bribery, corruption, and lawlessness...
You saw J.D. Vance chuckle. So Mike Johnson, without turning away, kind of goes to J.D. Vance. Did he say Somali pirates? And J.D. Vance goes, he said Somali pirates. Oh, so glorious. Come on, TKD, you're better than that. No, actually, I don't think that I am.
Good humor.
I actually don't think that I am better than that. And then I want you to play, and this is my question to everyone listening and watching in the Mike Church Show, and thank you so much for choosing us today. I know you have a choice, and I appreciate you taking us with you and taking the time out to listen and to watch. Now get busy and hit that donate button. You, talking to you. I want everyone to just consider one thing, and then we'll talk to Magdalene about this for a bit. You live in a nation, a union of states that has somehow managed to survive 249 and 3/4 years. Longer than the almost, I was going to say the Helvetic, but somebody's going to fact check me and go, yeah, Helvetic actually 300, whatever, dude. Somebody last night was jawboning on, there's not the greatest country ever, the Roman Empire was right. Maybe it might be true. It may be true that the Roman Empire. Okay, so what are the dates of the Roman Empire? Some people have different dates, but I believe that 643 BC is kind of the beginning, and it's in the 2nd century BC, 150 some around then, when it actually kind of becomes the glorious Roman Empire. Now, it is the glorious Roman Empire, and I say that in all practical, secular sense of the word. I don't say it in the glorious sense of our Lord Jesus Christ. I say it in the secular sense of the world. There was the glory of Rome. In a practical, secular, worldly kind of sense. So somewhere in the second century BC, all the way up until the final days of the fall of the Roman Empire, which some people, I forget, what does Gibbons put the date? Gibbons, the historian, wanted everyone references. And I forget the date, somewhere in the 4th century, that the Roman Empire basically comes to an end. Now, Rome will survive, still there today. But the empire will not. And because the empire will not, that means that the parts of northern Africa that were conquered, the parts of, like, look, Rome extended all the way for, about 5 centuries, all the way to what they would have called Angleterre. And we call it England today, or the French call it Angleterre. The Gauls would have called it Angleterre, Anglin, which gets conjugated to England. So for centuries, I mean, Emperor Hadrian the Pervert infamously built a wall, Hadrian's Wall. You know all about the Roman Legion. I think Channing Tatum was in a movie called Iron Eagle, I think, about the Roman Legion and kind of the end of the days of the Picts, the bad people that were in England and what have you here. The point is that for someone to say, well, no, the Roman Empire did this, yeah, the Roman Empire had accomplishments. I would actually say it's probably the Greeks who actually contributed more to what we call Western civ or Western civilization than the Romans. You know, the Greeks gave us so many things. The Greeks gave us basically classical highfalutin art, classical highfalutin music, theater. You certainly got theater and drama. You had the first basically written philosophers, not to say that there weren't philosophers before, but certainly the ones that still endure to this day. How many people have Plato on their shelves? I do. How many people have Aristotle on their shelves? I do. How many people have other Greek philosophers or have studied Greek philosophy? It's the Hellenic age was glorious, and it left things behind. The Roman age was glorious. And again, this is a secular argument. Is not the American age glorious? You fast forward 1,000 years from now, there may be a fall of the American empire in our future. As a matter of fact, there probably is. Will there be a glorious American empire? Will America be glorious in as much as it helped in 2 world wars? Historians will judge that. Is there controversy about it? Yes. Did the United States play a role? I think we do grave disservice to the men who Roosevelt and the conspirators sent into World War II to say that the United States did not have a role in bringing it to an end and that it wasn't a good thing. I know all about the conspiracy and Churchill and all that. I know all about it. I think it's an ignominious thing that we drop nukes. And I think we ought to be chastised throughout all of history for it, and it should never happen again. And we should be the example of why and what we did to the Japanese in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Having said all that, the United States has produced innovation. It is exacerbated and then took off and ran with the industrial age, and it beat all its competitors throughout the world. In the 1950s, if you looked at a chart that showed where all the world's steel was made, the United States made a majority. The United States made more steel here than was made in the entirety of the world. It didn't happen by accident. So was there a golden age or was there a glorious age? There was. You know, I get into arguments with people, and you're free to think this, and I know many of you do. Let's have a beer and we'll joke about it. The United States sent men to the moon. You could say that it never happened. Come on, TKD, you're better than that. I love it when people go in my own chat room and tell me I'm better than that. Well, I grew up a space nerd. I watched the whole thing. I can actually give you scientific explanations for all the things that you say didn't happen, and I'm fine with that. I'm going with we landed on the moon, Armstrong and Nixon did call via radio, shortwave, microwave, relayed antenna, and that it all actually did happen. Good things. I could list many, many more. The age in which you had Norman Rockwell paintings on the Saturday Evening Post. The age in which Mother Cabrini became a canonized saint for her work amongst the poor in New York. It's a good thing. The age and here in New Orleans and in Chicago, the age in which Elizabeth Ann Seton became a canonized saint as an American, the age in which the immigrant Father Xavier Zelos is soon to become a canonized saint, and I believe someday soon, Bishop Fulton Sheen. So don't give me this, everything is rotten and horrible, and we wish that, it never would have happened. There's nothing to look back on, and we're sucked. You sound like Democrats. Angry, violent Democrats when you talk like that. We need to fix that. We need to fix this and that and the other. Well, I'm pretty sure that Christ came into the world because the whole thing was broken. So if you remove Christ from it, I'm pretty sure it's going to go back to being broken, which is what you primarily see on display today. So suck it up, become a missionary, and go about your work, and stop asking people to look at how bad you think you have it. Then there is this. Consider that. Consider Johnson's statement that, 750,000 people are represented by that Democrat that refused to show up last night. That's 750,000 people that had no representation to hear the president's State of the Union message, which the Constitution says he has to deliver. That's 750,000 people who had no representative to hear digital media file number 8. I don't know if Peggy Noonan wrote this or if there is someone that is because it sounds very like Ronald Reagan Noonan-esque to me. But I think that, now again, I'm staying in my stay in your lane, bro. I'm staying in my secular, we are a union of states lane. I think that this is about as well put as you could put it. And why wouldn't you want your representative in the room to hear this, and I dare say, agree with it?
There is no challenge Americans cannot overcome, no frontier too vast for us to conquer, no dream too bold for us to chase, no horizon too distant for us to claim. For our destiny is written by the hand of providence, and these first 250 years were just the beginning. From the rugged border towns of Texas to the heartland villages of Michigan, from the sun-kissed shores of Florida to the endless fields of the Dakotas, and from the historic streets of Philadelphia to right here in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., the golden age of America is upon us. The revolution that began in 1776 has not ended. It still continues because the flame of liberty and independence still burns in the heart of every American patriot. And our future will be bigger, better, brighter, bolder, and more glorious than ever before. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Now, Magdalene Rose, what's the campaign, Democrat campaign argument against the closing statement?
Well, there isn't one, and I think that that's the.
Why do you keep saying that?
There isn't one, and I think the State of the Union address was so brilliant because there was something for everybody. There was something for the sports fan, for the military person, for even agriculture, all of it. There was something for everybody. And Democrats, I've watched their post-analysis and their post-commentary, and they're mad that he didn't ramble. They're disappointed that he didn't ramble enough for them to harp on that.
Well, given that closing statement and that argument, most people don't fancy that President Trump is that brilliant or good of an orator. I would say last night he was. As a matter of fact, since I've done this before a couple of hundred times, I can see some of the tells, and I could see some of what was going on through his mind, and I could see he rehearsed his speech, he practiced it, he caught himself at least a dozen times when he was about to ramble or fudge a word that he saw on the teleprompter. He caught himself, stopped himself, repronounced the word to make sure he got it right, and then went on with the sentence. Magdalene, that was intentional that he didn't ramble. And that shows to me, that's again, where does the man find the time to do all this? That's a work ethic there that they didn't just hand him that speech and he just read it. Oh, he had read it in advance. I can tell you, because you can tell. Remember, I've told you and Barrett and others in meetings before, don't read, talk. Remember? Don't stop reading to me, talk. And the only way you cannot read and talk is if you have read it in advance and kind of internalized it. So, yeah, it was not a flub fest, and he has flub fest before. It was not a speech where he goes to campaign for someone, where he goes off script. He pretty much was disciplined, and that inner clock was going like, it was Star Wars. The first Star Wars, stay on target. I'm getting off it, and then you stay on target. The little voice in his mind was going, stay on target, stay on target. And I'm glad to hear, I obviously haven't been able to check because I've been on air, but you have. I'm glad to hear that the Democrats are just incensed that he didn't ramble.
Yeah, they're very upset about it, and they even said that this is not what they were expecting. I mean, in the post-analysis, I've seen Democrats through written posts and commentary multiple times say this is not what they were expecting. So I don't know if he had things leaked to the Democrat camp, to like DC insiders, so they would be not ready for this. You know, it was interesting. Abigail Spanberger, the Democrat, I thought that her response was really empty of anything concrete. Not just because I really think she's a terrible governor, but because watching it, there were not specific pinpoints to pull out. So I wonder if they were told that Trump was going to talk about like big picture things and not get into specifics, because that's how her speech reads.
Well, here, I actually have a part of it, digital media file number 9. I'm not going to play the whole thing because I would bore you people to tears. And you'd screaming and yelling, why TKD? I'd have to, Maggie would have to endure in the chat room, click, mute.
I'm tuning out.
What's that? I'm tuning out. Well, go ahead. Go ahead. You need to go ahead and leave then. 1 minute and actually not that long. 45 seconds. Come back in 45 seconds. You won't have to hear her.
Hold on. I just hit the wrong button.
Oh, Lord, our techno miscues.
In his farewell address, George Washington warned us about the possibility of, quote, cunning, ambitious, and unprincipled men rising to power. But he also encouraged us, all Americans, to unite in a common cause, to move this nation forward. That is our charge once more, and that is what we are seeing across the country. It is deeply American and patriotic to do so, and it is how we ensure that the state of our union remains strong, not just this year, but for the next 250 years as well, because we, the people, have the power to make change, the power to stand up for what is right, the power to demand more of our nation.
American people last night got a full, healthy dose of American feminism, and they're going to reject it. Let me just say to you that, okay, regular time is, the show's over. We're in the post-show show now. Put money in the tip jar, please. We got 1,300 some odd dollars left to raise. CrusadeChannel.com/donate. This winch, just probably, they word searched Washington's farewell. They didn't read it. They word searched it looking for words, and they found cunning. And they found, what was the other word? Ambitious and unprincipled. Let me give listeners and readers the actual context in the farewell address that Washington gave this in. Because he's not talking about a future president. He's talking about members of Congress, Democrats acting as they are currently acting. This is what Washington actually wrote in context. Quote, now Magdalene, audience, pay very close attention to the first sentence. All obstructions to the execution of the laws. Do I have all of your attention? You're all going, wait a minute. That's what the Democrat. She's the executive. He executes laws. Right. The immigration laws were passed by Congress. Trump is enforcing them. The immigration laws were passed by Congress. Trump is enforcing them. The laws on trade and on tariffs were passed by Congress. Trump is enforcing them. So You idiot. You stupid boob. Washington was warning about a future Congress. I continue. Or should I say George Washington continues. All obstructions to the execution of the laws, all combinations and associations under whatever plausible character, with the real design to direct, control, counteract, or awe the regular deliberation and action of the constituted authorities are destructive of this fundamental principle and a fatal tendency. They serve to organize faction, to give it an artificial and extraordinary force, to put in the place of the delegated will of the nation, the will of a party. Is Washington talking about the modern Democrat Party? He sure is. Often a small but artful and enterprising minority of the community. And according to the alternate triumphs of different parties, to make the public administration the mirror of the ill-concerted and incongruous projects of faction, rather than the organ of consistent and wholesome plans digested by common councils and modified by mutual interest. However combinations or associations of the above description may now and then answer popular ends, they are likely, in the course of time and things, to become potent engines by which cunning, ambitious, and unprincipled men will be enabled to subvert the power of the people and to usurp for themselves the reins of government, destroying afterwards the very engines which have lifted them to unjust dominion. Towards the preservation of your government and the permanency of your present happy state, it is requisite not only that you steadily discountenance irregular oppositions to its acknowledged authority, but also that you resist with care the spirit of innovation upon its principles, however specious the pretext. One method of assault may be to effect in the forms of the Constitution alterations which will impair the energy of the system and thus to undermine what cannot be directly overthrown. Close quote. Give me the gold medal. Give Washington the gold medal. Katie barred the door. He's warning about what exactly you're seeing the Democrat Party and its media and industry and education and entertainment allies doing. That's exactly what they're doing. So she quoted Washington aiming in at Trump when, in fact, if anyone bothers to check and to actually read the entirety of the passage, you will just see, as I just showed you, that Washington was warning about crooked members of Congress and the state legislatures.
Well, I think that the reason for her trying to repackage herself and her efforts in a sort of George Washington-esque way without taking any of the meat or the realizations from it is because the people of Virginia are deeply unhappy. Her approval rating is sitting at 30%. She's only been governor less than 90 days. And yet that is happening because she has reversed her entire policy platform of how she would govern as a governor. So I'm not surprised that she's trying to draw from that ethos without any of the meat of it. But Democrats can't draw from the meat of the founding fathers or anything, because that would mean being a constitutionalist. It would mean not betraying your nation with endless immigration. So when Trump goes up there and speaks out specifics and she gives this word flub for a little while, it's disheartening. And the post-analysis of her speech was very odd to me. Sane Democrats were saying she was the most eloquent human being they'd seen, that she was brilliant. I think that they were hyping her up because I just don't see how you could believe that.
Well, they also think that she is in the kitty for 2028.
Yeah, it was very clear.
Are they stupid enough to nominate a third left-hard communist woman?
I can't imagine it. I mean, they might have to find another Midwestern guy named Tim if they're going to do that, because I can't imagine. Like, can you imagine Abigail Spanberger every day on the national stage?
Oh, no.
People will hate her. Like, not even just from a political level. You see that she has, I mean, it sounds bad, but she has like a face people are going to hate if it's pushed on them every day for a year.
Well, and then there was the moment last night where he looked at Ilhan Omar and Jayapal and Klobuchar and talked about the Somali pirates. which got a laugh from Mike Johnson, who then repeated it to J.D. Vance, who then laughed out loud. And you could see it when you watch the clip here. This Ilhan Omar creature, he wasn't going to give her 15 minutes because that's what she wanted. She wanted to be Al Green kicked out. And he wasn't taking it because people in the chat room were screaming, "Kick her out! Get her out! Remove her!" Well, that's what they wanted, and they weren't going to give it to him. But just the idea here that you, as an immigrant, I don't care if you're legal or not, you as an immigrant in the most august chamber in the entire continent, with the opportunity to sit, inquire, as we would say in Catholicism, inquire with the president and the vice president of the United States and with your fellow members of the House of Representatives and Senate, and to sit there and attentively and in a dignified manner represent your constituents. Instead, you acted like this was some sort of a high school debate on the TV show Glee. And you sit there and you yell and scream and try and shout down the man that was actually invited into the House to speak. No dignity, no decorum, no sense of appreciation whatsoever. All she did was reaffirm everything that Trump has said about her. And I bet you I'm not the only one this morning is going like, dude, you already know that the immigration papers are fake, that they were falsified. Take her back to Somalia. People are going to cheer.
Yeah. People are. Nobody likes her. Like, I don't really understand why Republicans don't make her more of an enemy than they do. And also, she sits there with Rashida Tlaib next to her, and they talk about how broken America is constantly. It doesn't look very broken when two people who represent a group of people who hate America get to sit in Congress and yell at the president. Like, there is a level of privilege that these people live in that they don't really acknowledge, and it's very frustrating. So when Trump is talking about the Somali community and he said that Vance is going to be the one to take on the fraud, to expose the fraud, the leader there, like, they know they have a problem. And the idea that we're going to sacrifice America's future for some Somali community that hates us, and that the Democrat mayor has to engage in tribal warfare to exploit that in order to keep another crazy Somali lunatic out of the mayor's office is ridiculous. This is just not a community that benefits us in this country. We constantly hear criticism of all the communities in this country. I am absolutely sure we are not getting a net positive from the endless Somali population in Minnesota.
I second that motion. Let's talk about the USA men's hockey team one more time, because this is just another, you said, sports fans moment. And again, I point this out on Twitter. And again, I'm shadow banned on Twitter, so no one can, a few people can see what I pointed out. But I think I make a signal point. 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, what would have been said about the young men, white young men, who would have been gathered together as a gang of 20 young white men? What would Biden have called them? White nationalist, white supremacist, white privilege, right? These boys have had their future. These people have tried to steal their future from them. The only reason they have one is because they're in the sport that women and minorities can't take over, and that trannies can't play in because they'll get their asses kicked. So that's the only reason they're there. It's pure achievement. It's pure accomplishment. In other words, it's kind of pure American there. And every single one of them, to a man, is the child of a pair of American white parents. Now, I can't be the only person that has seen this and acknowledged this. But Americans, Magdalene, aren't cringing for fear that they're cheering on some white guys who won a gold medal representing their country. They're not going like, this is unfair, patently unfair. Where are the Chinese? Where are the minorities? Why are there no women on that team pretending to be men? Instead, Americans are going like, I rather like these boys. They smile, they wear their colors, they're dignified, they act together as a team, they make a good representation of their country if the rest of the world is watching. We look rather good in light of the rest of the world. They wear their gold medals with cheer and with pride, not with arrogance and elitism, and you said it earlier, what was the word that you used? Privilege. And there's no privilege there. There's humility in saying, thank you so much, America, for allowing us to go represent you guys and go win us a gold medal. People are, you said that they're talking about me on social media. Mike is falling prey to Americanism and the U.S. men's hockey team. No, I'm just enjoying the moment. You should too. And if I had to be represented outside of my church on an international stage, I would want nice, accomplished, well-mannered, respectful, dignified young men like that to represent me. What the hell is wrong with you?
Well, I think it's because people are attached to misery. Like, if you spend a lot of time on social media, you see this almost turning of anything sad or anyone struggling into constant entertainment. Like, I see the videos, for example, about how the I think it's the free skater or the free jumper who went to China and left the United States and decided that was what she wanted to do. She's being celebrated in American media.
Eileen Gu.
Eileen Gu, yes, like she is representing us, like she's a saint, all of this. And they're slamming the U.S. men's hockey team. And the comparison is weird. Like, I don't know if it's CCP propaganda, but I fear that it's not. I think it's just self-hatingness in America so much that we hate people who were happy that our own country won. Like, that's the level. In the New York Times, they had the two competing articles. Eileen Gu is a rock star, a knockout, and the U.S. men's hockey team is trading on Trump propaganda. Like, that's what they're putting out into the public discourse.
Yeah, MSNBC led with that this morning. A U.S. men's hockey team allowed to be made political pawns by Trump. Now, you should expect this from people that have no answer to anything or no answer to anyone's problem. As a matter of fact, do they have an answer to the charge that they are guilty of insider trading? Because that was leveled at them last night. You know what? One thing that I think a lot of people...
Nancy said if it would have been illegal, they would be arrested.
Yeah, Nancy Pelosi said, if it would have been whacked on, whacked off, or lead to Putin, 2014, whacked on, whacked off. If it would have been illegal, then we would already have been arrested. There are a bunch of people that need to be arrested, as Thomas Massey was pointing out yesterday, wondering, like, dude, you had the pictures, the photographs, and the emails and everything. What is Pam Bondi waiting for? Go and get Les Wexner and put him in handcuffs. You know, the Brits are acting upon this. They arrested Prince Andrew. They arrested the ambassador dude, Edinburgh, whatever the hell his name is. They arrested 3 people. They're 3 ahead of us, okay? And they're like, and the king is going, I don't know my brother any longer. If he's violated the law, well, then he must be held accountable. So there is still an awful lot of work to be done here. And I don't know that, is this Trump is President Trump just tolerating this from Bondi? Is she telling him that we don't have the law on our side and that I can't arrest them? I just want to be a fly on the wall, and I want to know what's going on with the conversations, because to many of us it just is frustrating and it just seems ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, it is ridiculous. And I don't understand the feeling by American journalists that it's a good idea to elevate people who hate our nation in spite of the people who don't hate our nation. Like, I really don't get it. I'm almost hoping it's Chinese Communist Party propaganda, but at least that would make sense. Like, at least I would feel like, well, we've just been infiltrated by foreign agents. We can get that out. I would feel okay about it. But self-hating Americans to this point, it's just ridiculous. You have to stop feeling like you have to hate your nation to be a good person. And this is the sickness that Barack Obama brought into this country.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't have this problem. This didn't happen. Like, a lot of bad things happened under the Bushes. This didn't happen under the Bushes. This is not Reagan's plus, not even like the Carter era. What happened with Obama is that he had nothing to offer and nothing to stand on. So he had to make America feel guilty enough to vote for him. And he had to tell the American people who weren't in the hope and change lunacy, you did a bad thing, your ancestors did bad things, so you must vote for me to make yourself a good person. And it's this infecting mindset that is still so prevalent in millennials and older Americans, and millennials especially, because they're the leaders in print media now where a lot of this comes from.
Well, one thing that we said last night, if we were looking for an example of a kind of naked, raw, I don't care, you're wrong partisanship, you got it. He stared him down a half a dozen times, once calling them crazy. And after he called them crazy, he sat there, and the Republicans kept applauding. And he's just looking at him like, I'm going to give you a chance, stand up. It was a simple question. It was a simple question. If you believe that the American government has a duty and a responsibility to protect American citizens and not illegal aliens, stand up. And they all stayed seated. Who told them that this was a good idea? We can make a montage of me saying, I just don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand. Who are the big money people that are telling them you just stay in opposition, even if it's going to cost you your career or whatever? You don't worry about it. Let us worry about how we're going to get you back in power, because I don't understand it. I mean, that was a yes or no answer. There's only two possible answers. And they're kind of like, are you pregnant or are you not, right? There's no maybe in there. As a yes or no answer, I think 85, 90% of most Americans would answer yes. And then you have the people in charge and representing one of the two major political parties saying no. Their answer was no. I do not believe it is my duty. That's a campaign ad. And again, even the stupid party can't screw this up at this point. If you pass the SAVE Act, reopen the DHS, and then continue to work. Look, the tariffs are going to work. It's not going to work overnight. And I wish someone, maybe Witkoff or someone, or the White House can hire me, and I'll go out and tell them this is not going. It took 60 years to do this. It's not going to be erased overnight, but it is going to be erased, and it is going to turn out better for you. You must be patient. But this sitting on your hands when you're asking empirical data question, yes or no, that's campaign ad. You know, all you do is the ad opens up. Mark Kelly wants to be your United States Senator and represent the law-abiding legal citizens of Arizona. Cut. Trump asking, all right, it's a yes or no answer. If you agree, stand up. The primary purpose of the American government is to protect the rights and privileges and to keep safe the citizens of the United States and not illegal aliens. And then you cut to Mark Kelly sitting on his hands. And then you just let it run for 40 seconds. And just keep cutting back to Trump, jiggling his fingers, going, like, going to get a chance to stand up. You put a clock down at the bottom. You can actually I should be in political advertising. You actually put an elapsed timer down there to show that Kelly sat there while the entire House of Representatives on the other side, everyone in the gallery, and the president, vice president, and the speaker all stood and waited for you to acknowledge one simple truth that you refused to do. That's a campaign ad.
Well, it is a campaign ad, and I think that that's what's going to happen. I think that every U.S. senator, or a member of Congress, rather, who sat for anything, we should cut that moment and just run that as an ad across the board. Doesn't matter if you're only in a deep red area. Just let the American people know that these people don't stand for things. You can put them on social media. You don't even have to do an ad buy. You don't even have to put them on TV. Run them just on X or just on Facebook. Make it platform specific. And I think this is part of it. In American politics, you need a year-round approach to telling the people of this country how crazy Democrats are. We can't have it just in one moment or another. So the year-round effort should be going on, and we have content for it now.
So you also had the specter of a half a dozen Democrats or so sleeping. Now, look, we carried the C-SPAN feed. So I didn't carry some of the press pool had their own cameras up there, like they had their own cameras and camera positions. We carried the C-SPAN feed, which is supposed to be neutral. C-SPAN showed Ilhan Omar screaming. C-SPAN showed a half a dozen Democrats sleeping, not falling asleep, actually sleeping. I just think it was if I had to grade what happened last night, it was a disaster. You had a chief warrant officer get the Congressional Medal of Honor. You had a pair of 100, and this is the part that, now they did stand for this, a pair of 100-year-old World War II veterans basically get finally their Congressional Medals of Honor at last night's State of the Union. And then you had the National Guardsman who was shot in the head defending D.C., get the Purple Heart. And, of course, you had the USA men's hockey team. There were, 8 chances to stand up for ordinary Americans. And then you had the parents whose daughter was returned to them over the tranny kidnapping by the Virginia kidnap. The state, the government of Maryland sent that child to go to a home, or allowed the child to go to a home in Virginia against its parents' wishes. You had those people there. You had the little girl who was hit by a drunk driver when she was 1 year old, and half of her brain was damaged and cut off, and they didn't think she was going to make it. She survived. She was there with her mom and dad last night. He had all these opportunities for these clowns to stand up, and the only 2 that they actually stood up for, half of them stood up for the hockey team, the other half stayed seated, and most of them stood up for the 100-year-old veterans. The rest of them didn't stand up for any of the other people. So you said there was something for everyone, apparently not for Democrats.
Well, that's because Democrats don't really like America. Like, they use Congress as a vehicle to advance progressive lunacy and defend their ethnic communities, whichever one they represent. That's what it's about now. So when that's the situation, I'm not surprised that they don't stand for things. Why would they?
Now, Maggie, if you've seen this from the White House, can you go to I'll just send you the link. They just posted this a couple of minutes ago. I'll send you this. This is what you call staying in the game and this is taking advantage of the moment. I just sent it to you in Signal. Magdalene, I want you to hear this. Actually, this was, it looks like they posted it after the State of the Union last night. I just saw it. Here you go. Watch this. Various cabinet members being seated.
Tonight marks the start of a new chapter in the greatest comeback story ever told.
It's been a busy year since President Trump last addressed this building.
You know the top lines.
Transparency across the board.
No tax on tips. No tax on overtime. Cutting taxes on Social Security.
The great healthcare plan.
Working families tax cuts.
Deporting the worst of the worst. Totally securing our border.
Making America healthy again.
The largest deregulation efforts ever undertaken.
Fixing our food pyramid.
Unleashing American energy.
Drill, baby, drill.
Reshoring American factories.
Building a brand new air traffic control system.
Eliminating trade imbalances.
Bringing home hostages.
No more men and women's sports.
Peace through strength.
Low drug prices. More money in your pocket.
Putting America first always.
Working tirelessly for all Americans.
And so much more.
But tonight isn't just a speech. No. President Trump is revealing a roadmap for the golden age of American greatness.
Giving you the jet fuel to pursue your version of the American dream.
And reignite the American spirit
that for nearly 250 years
has made us the most exceptional nation in the world.
We're not sick of winning yet.
We're not sick of winning yet, Mr. President.
America
is back.
So
thank you
for your attention
to this matter.
Thank you for your attention to this matter.
The state of our union.
The state of our union.
The state of our union is strong. And the state of the union.
And the state of the union
starts right now.
I mean, dude, you're absolutely murdering the social media, murdering Hollywood. That is so well done and so well produced and exactly timely, exactly what you would say for the moment here. And come on, GKD, that's propaganda. It's the very definition of propaganda. I admit it. I'll readily concede it. It's damn good propaganda.
Well, it is. I love it. I love that video. I bookmarked that video on Twitter for my own personal account just so I always have access to it. And I think that the reason for that is because it feels good. It's also well done. Like, the production value is there. Trump knows that. But in addition to that, the members of the cabinet for Trump this time, each of them is memorable. Like, some more than others. Of course, I'm going to notice Marco Rubio more than our VA secretary. But each one is memorable, and that's what the cabinet should be. The cabinet shouldn't be something the president has to babysit. And that was something that we got into the practice of under Obama, because Obama didn't trust anybody and because Democrats lie and cheat on each other. But I love that Trump's cabinet has autonomy. Like, you hire people to do things, and Trump has oversight, but Trump does not think that he has to double-check Marco Rubio's homework or Pete Hegseth, and that's a great thing. And that's why we see such big movement in foreign policy, because it's a team effort.
Yeah, there's another moment from the USA men's hockey team I'm just going to harp on one more time, and that is that I love the picture in the Oval Office with him holding with them holding the jersey up that they gave to him, and they all signed it. And I love the moment where I think it's one of the Chachik brothers says, well, "Do you want to wear it?" And Trump goes, "Oh, yeah, I think I'd like to wear it." And then he goes, "I might not give it back." And then the Chachki boy goes, I think it was the Chachki, says, "I'll trade you a pen for it." I'll trade you a pen for 5 ounces of gold worth $150,000. I'll take a presidential pen. And then there was a moment where they were out there on the White House lawn with the newly cleaned statue of George Washington, and they all gathered around the statue of Washington. They put one of their gold medals around Washington's neck, and they're all crooning and craning their necks to make sure that their faces get in the picture. These aren't guys that just showed up like, oh, yeah, I got to take another stupid picture. They wanted to make sure that their smiley mugs, each and every one of them, got in the picture with the father of the country, so that when the picture gets printed, you can go from left to right, right? Here's Quinn Hughes, Jack Hughes, Austin, Matt, the captain, Matt Broly, and all the other, Connor Hellebuck, and all the other guys. Each of them wanted to make sure that it got into the picture. Those aren't people that's not a show. That's just genuine. It's just kind of nice to know that there are still people in sports that seem to be good guys, because you got to say, the NFL primarily filled with prima donna cheating, horrible people. The NBA, all of it, prima donna cheating people. Don't know about the NHL. It seems like, I don't know, maybe not. What sport is there left that has not been totally corrupted by gambling and all the multi-million-dollar salaries and what have you? Well, seems like maybe hockey hasn't. I don't know, but it's a great thing to see. And I think that they're going to have posters that boys are going to be hanging in their bedrooms of the USA men's hockey team with the Gaudreau jersey. There are going to be posters. There it is right there. With them, look, that's going to be a poster. So somebody's going to make that. Back when I was a little church, I used to go to Spencer's Prints to go get posters. Every kid had posters hanging up on there. Did you have posters, Maggie?
I did.
Magdalene, did you have posters when you was a little girl?
A few of them, yeah.
Okay. Well, I had posters. Every kid that's a hockey player is going to want one of those posters. Mm-hmm. Mom and Dad are going to be giving USA men's hockey team posters away for Christmas and birthday gifts. It's the gift that keeps on giving the whole year long, Clark. And I said it the other day, and I'll say it again for people to try to hear me talking about it. I just think that those boys came along at the right time. They're in the right place at the right time, and they're the right young men for the right moment. And I think that's a good thing. You know, people can take the angle. Trump told the American people that are struggling to suck it up. That's one cynical way to look at it. I didn't hear him say that, but Kyle Seraphin seems to think that that's what Trump said. And I'm okay with us having disagreements, because at the end of the day, we're Americans, and we ought to be able to have a little discussion about that.
Yeah, we can have discussion.
Uh-oh. Think we lost her. Bueller.
No, I'm back. I'm back. We can have discussions. We can go back and forth. But I really do think one of the problems we've had is that we allow ourselves to be drawn into discussions about the founding of the whole nation rather than just how to manage it. Having discussions about what to do and how to go back and forth is fine. Having discussions about the system of economics, I'm not okay with that.
Well, I think it's no. This stupid discussion, and I'm glad he kept bringing up the 250s, which is why I spent an entire segment today talking about George Washington, talking about what actually happened in 1776, talking about the fact that Trump gave Jefferson credit. He should have thrown Adams in there. There's still 6 months to get Adams in there, and I'm sure that they will. And that the events of the American founding are not up for question, and there should be no apologies for them. This is the way it happened. History is gnarly. Doesn't happen. You can't look back on it and go, well, I wish it would have happened that. Well, it didn't. It didn't. Deal with it. And this is the result. Okay. So, and look, I don't think that that we should be engaging. I'm not going to engage first of all, I'm trying not to engage anyone on X anymore because I just frankly don't care. I'll post what I got to say. If you don't like it, post under it. I just walk away. But I frankly don't think that you should be, or that anyone that is well-informed should be engaging people that are not well-informed and don't care to be. It's futile. What is the point? This is like what they call invincible ignorance here. You can't perform someone who is convinced of their ignorance and convinced of the absolutism of their ignorance. Is this where a Democrat is today? That are Democrats? Are they invincibly ignorant? I think that many of them are. I truly think that there may actually be some sort of a mental disease or a mental disorder with what you're seeing. Picture this, Magdalene. We get to July the 4th of this year. Does Nancy Pelosi, does Hakeem Jeffries, does Chuck Schumer go to South Dakota to celebrate America's 250th bicentennial party that the president is planning to throw? I'm going to try to go. You're probably going to try to go. If I can't get that far, maybe I'll go to Mount Vernon or somewhere. Are Democrats going to go have a separate celebration in Beijing? Are they going to have one at the Alamo and say, we wish that these guys would have lost? I mean, where does this end? Unless it ends in a war.
Well, that's a good question. We don't know where it's going to end, and I don't know what else they're willing to do to hate America. Like, their aggressiveness in loathing the country has to bottom out at some point. I would think it would bottom out after they lose everything in the last election cycle. With what happened there, it hasn't bottomed out. Like, it's just not getting there. If you hate America this much, then really, why are you in Congress? Like, no one is conscripted into this.
That's right.
You have to volunteer. Like, you really have to volunteer. You have to work hard. You have to get money. It's an effort where you have a lot of time to think about whether or not you want to do it. So if that's the case, why are you in Congress? Why are you in politics?
Final question for Magdalene Rose, our political affairs contributor here. So what is Candace Owens' conspiracy going to be today? Trump! Trump was in on Charlie's killing, and Erica signaled it by looking to the heavens and pointing at him.
Yeah. Ironically, one of my biggest criticisms of Charlie Kirk was his support of Candace Owens, originally in the conservative movement. I always thought it was a bad idea. I thought she was crazy. I thought she was nasty, and I thought she enhanced no conversation. And people were so mad at me for it. They were like, how could you say that? She's a truth teller, all this stuff, Brexit, leading black people to conservatism. None of that happened. None of it happened. And now she spends literally all day just attacking Charlie Kirk's widow. Her documentary, Bride of Charlie Kirk, I mean, I just don't even know how Erica gets up in the morning. She must be a woman of severe faith because the nonsense that has unfolded. And people are like, well, Candace is just asking questions. Is she, like, when you talk about killer bees in the Utah tunnels, which don't exist, coming to kill Charlie Kirk, and that it was the Jewish engineers who built the killer bees, to me, that's not really just asking questions, and I'm okay with dismissing her at this point. We've gotten to that point.
Well, when we used to have this guy...
This is their plan, people. These are demons. Just like the Bible says. It's basically an intergalactic invasion into this space through people. I'm telling you, it's what all the ancients said.
This is at least entertaining.
It's what we're dealing with. They're demons.
Yeah.
They're frickin' interdimensional invaders, okay? I'll just say it. Make fun of me all you want on CNN or wherever, but everyone already innately knows this. These people are not frickin' humans, okay? Hillary Clinton is a goddamn demon.
Yeah.
At least it's entertaining. And then,
do you know that even he thinks she's crazy? Do you know that? I watched it. Even Alex Jones thinks she's crazy now.
Well, and then for Alex's sake, I mean, people so loved Alex's. He had a passion for the conspiracy. You know, I've said this my whole career. People have asked me to bash Alex Jones, and I've always refused. And I told you heard my interview with Owen Schroy. I said, you tell Alex I said hello. I was one of Alex Jones's first interviews back in 2003. I don't know if he remembers this. I've said this before. I'll say it again. And people have asked me, what do you think about Alex Jones? Do you think this? I said, I think he is just a magnificent example of El Rushbo's 3 rules. Entertain, entertain, and entertain. He's damn good at it. Really good at it. And he focused it. He laser focused. He isolated. Look, I can own. You think conspiracy theorist people on TV or radio, you may think 3 people. You may think Art Bill. You may think the guy with the crazy hair who did Ancient Aliens, or you think Alex Jones. That's a pretty magnificent accomplishment in my view. I take that as a career milestone. And so even though, I've never been publicly associated with Alex, he and I have never appeared together. I did interview him. I've always taken a rather kind of, I think he's a cool American radio and TV entertainer. And I think that takes a certain kind of genius. So I think the man's genius. Now, I'm not supposed to say that. I'm supposed to laugh and say, oh, crazy Alex and this and that and the other. I don't think that I don't hear insanity in that. Again, there's a very focused form of entertaining, and it worked. And I'm sad for the people at Sandy Hook that they lost their kids, and I'm sad for Alex that's how they took him out. They basically silenced him through one of his conspiracies, and it may have been a poor choice of words or to continue it. But to hear that he thinks that Candace Owens is nuts, did he actually say that?
Oh, yeah. He did a whole thing about how he thinks that she's part of the Epstein world and everything. He thinks that it's all very suspicious, that she came in from nowhere. He traced some of her origins when she was in New York. The things he
she's a Bannonite, for sure.
Yes. The things he criticizes Erica Kirk for the most is that Erica Kirk lived in New York and was like a real estate agent for the Corcoran Group and all this stuff. She was in New York City, too. She worked as an intern for fashion magazines. Like, the things Candace Owens says are the smoking guns for why Erica Kirk is an evil witch who scammed Charlie Kirk. She did. Like, she did all of them. I know that. Everyone knows that's common knowledge. There are photos of her on rooftop parties in New York City drinking. And then she posts photos of Erica Kirk doing the same thing. But Erica Kirk isn't denying it. Candace Owens is pretending none of this happened in her life and then spends all day smearing a grieving widow. And I don't feel like Erica Kirk dines out on being a widow. I just think that's her reality.
Well, there are many women, I won't mention any names, who think that there's just some sort of a heebie-jeebie factor with Erica Kirk. And that the way that she did act in the aftermath of Charlie's assassination and some of the things that she said and the way she dressed. I didn't even look at what she was wearing last night. But the thought occurred to me afterwards, oh, man, she was in black. Please tell me it wasn't black leather. And I don't know that it was or it wasn't. As I said, I didn't get a good look at it. But Trump called her out, and she kind of patted her heart and said, thank you, Mr. President. You could read her lips. She said, thank you, Mr. President. This is almost like, and you're not old enough to remember this, Magdalene, maybe you are. Back in the day, in every newspaper in every major city, there were what were called the socialite pages. Every major newspaper had a socialite commentator. There were the social scenes, the parties that you had to absolutely go to, okay? In New York, the column was called, in the New York Post, it was called Page 6. And, they still carry this tradition on in an entire newspaper in the UK. It's called the Daily Mail. The Daily Mail is basically the National Enquirer in England, but people think it's a real newspaper. And they do have some investigative journalists there. So it used to be just kind of like common fanfare for women to get their husband's daily newspaper, and he goes to work, they read Page 6. They read Ann Landers, they read Irma Bombeck, they read Judith Manners, and they read these women who are basically critiquing and criticizing other women. So I don't think that there's anything new here. I just think that because of social media and the instant transmission of it, and it seems like it's a little more... it seems a little more, the assaults seem a little more personal because they're being spoken and not just typed out. But this is really a thing that has happened for a long time in America. You know, it was well known that no one in Hollywood, none of the women, they all hated Elizabeth Taylor. They all despised her. And I'm like, how could people not like Liz Taylor? And I don't know. Maybe Richard Burton could explain that to you. But I don't think that there's anything new here with the feud betwixt Candace and Erica and some of the other hens that have jumped in on it. I just think that you have added what I think is just this bizarre wrinkle to it of conspiracy. So I completely get the feud and the social pages and all of that I just said. I completely get that. It's, to me, as long as you're not really directly scandalizing someone, and you should be very careful about this, Candace Owens, don't scandalize. That's a sin. You're a Catholic now. If you're not directly scandalizing someone, well, you know, you choose to read it or choose not to read it. But adding the element of conspiracy and then a murder in there just elevates it to something that is not Page Six. It's not Judith Manners. It's not Dear Abby or any of Irma Bombeck or any of the other ones. Dorothy Dix, early promoter of this. It's none of that. Adding the conspiracy and the murder and the plot and all that just adds another dimension to it that, again, to me, and maybe it's a guy thing, is just bizarre. And I cringe when I cringe at what some people tell me about that. I go, oh, dude, or lady, there are such more important problems that we have that we could be addressing and talking about. And this is just, well, that's because you don't think that we can take the Khazarians on. You don't think that we can fight the Jew mafia and come out on top. No, I'm pretty sure that they've been at this for 4,800 years, and they're pretty good at it. No one has toppled that, been to the top of that hill and claimed to be king just yet. And it's probably not going to be you. So I'm just going to go deal with these other things over here that I might have a shot of actually having some sort of an impact upon.
I think that's a good takeaway. We can only fight so many battles.
And we should fight the ones that we might have a chance to win. If I'm going to fight a battle, it's going to involve religion. It's going to be for the conversion of all America to the Catholic faith. And I'll state it out loud and proud, and I've already said it. So if somebody goes, where do you? Because I seek me first the kingdom of God and all these things, and his justice shall be added unto me. And I want the slaves to the Immaculate Heart, who, by the way, are visiting with us this week. We have 4 sisters here. Well, they're in Baton Rouge today, but they will be back with us on Friday. And we support the sisters and the brothers at the St. Benedict Center. And we happily and cheerfully support them. So yes, I am willing to fight for and take the battle on for the conversion of America to Catholicism. And you know what? I have friends that aren't Catholics and are cool with that. Jeff Johnson comes to mind. Jeff and I don't fight about that. You know, it's just Jeff knows where I stand. I know where he stands. And we get along. But I still pray for him, as all good Catholics should. And I think that's a greater battle we can all fight. Pray for the conversion of President Trump. This would be a Constantine moment in world history. If Trump were to become Catholic, Constantine. This would change everything. Because, you know, he doesn't do anything half ASS. He would be drawn to the magnificent cathedrals of the Latin Mass. He would be drawn, and so would Melania, to the beauty of the Scola. And then, you know, the first thing is going to be say, well, Melania needs to apologize for her stand on abortion. She does. And I hope she confessed it, and I hope she never says it again. But imagine that conversion, Magdalene.
That'd be pretty great.
And, you know, what a position that would put American bishops in. Whew.
Yep.
Well, especially in regards to immigration and the enforcement of borders. What if President Trump said, and as St. Thomas Aquinas said, on protecting your borders? I mean, could you imagine him saying that, as St. Thomas Aquinas says, on protecting your borders? What a day. All right. Thank you very much, Magdalene. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah, I could go on and see. Maggie's tired. I'm tired. We had a long day yesterday. We need to get to wrap this up. If news breaks out today, and I don't think that it will, but if it does, we will break in. Folks, we worked a hell of a long day yesterday and another long shift here today. Can you help some brothers and sisters out and go to crusadechannel.com/donate and donate to our crowdfunding effort for February? Thank you very much. Without you, we aren't going to make it till March. So thank you. You can also become a Founders Pass member. You know, we had a lot of people tuning into the broadcast today on YouTube. Join! Dude, join! crusadechannel.com/join. You can join for $5. $5, and you don't even need the $5 bill to Lincoln. All you need is a coupon code JBOY1, J-Boy number 1. J-Boy number 1. J-Boy 1. So, crusadechannel.com/join. Have a safe and blessed remainder of the day. I need to mention as well that I did reveal a secret. It's in the chat room. We're going to send an email out later today. You can noodle upon it. And more will be revealed as we get closer to March 9th. And I think you're all going to be very, very excited about that. Just to that end, let me also say that the Founders Trading Post store is open. And if you choose to join and use the code, that, it won't renew you. This is not me trying to entrap you into a billing cycle that you can't get out of. And look, believe me, and I understand people thinking that, but that's not what this is. It's just to get you to become a Founders Pass member for a month. So crusadechannel.com/join. All right, have a safe and blessed remainder of the day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow night is, hang on, pause just quickly. Tomorrow night is Great American Amusement Parks. Not enough of you show up for Thursday night throwdowns. Let's change that tomorrow night. We had 40-some-odd people in the chat room last night. We can do that on Thursday night throwdowns. Great American Amusement Parks and amusement park rides. God bless you, and Mary keep you.
The liberals can run, but they'll never hide. He's a friend of Mr. Madison as he fights all leftisms. He supports our troops over there.